Pepper?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him. I wanted to give him a call. I've just been so busy, and sometimes he goes to ground a little bit, so I just give him a little bit of space.
Yeah. Yeah. I go to ground. I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I like being in my burrow.
Nils, you need to select your
right
session in the Hangout. Otherwise, it will just keep flashing back and forth between me and.
Whoa! I still think that's what I want.
I think you selected.
Yes.
I selected mine, but
I can't do that.
You were.
Oh well, what are you presenting?
Oh, okay. I was presenting Hangouts. That's why. Stop sharing.
You were infinitely sharing Hangouts.
He was.
That's interesting. It's not. Oh, it's not allowing me to. Okay.
Do you have D6 open?
I do, but it's not. I was gonna.
Share a browse. It's usually.
So so in order to make it work, you want Roll20 on a separate window.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to have other stuff.
I have Hangouts on Safari, and I have Roll20 on Firefox. So if you're having trouble, I'll share out.
No, I just
run it on.
I run it window, so I couldn't select it separately. There we go.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry for talking with my mouth full of paintbrush.
Okay. I'm going to do a kind of a quick recap on some of the details and then ask you a few questions about your characters. And then I would also, then we'll reset the scene from where we ended last week, and we'll see what we can do tonight. So just as a reminder, the key details for our Shadow of the Demon Lord game are a fallen empire filled with filled with religious strife, which is very active.
And help bring down the empire.
Right. And an ancient ancestor is who first opened the gates, and visions which bind us together in this lawless society. With an unchanging gray season, full of, dying earth, full of strange beasts, with enhanced mechanical engineering. So there is no black powder in this place. And when we began our game last week, or the week before, I guess we have missed one, is we had created the town of Last Hope together. And that town of Last Hope had the old shuttered workshop.
Yes, we drew it.
A constable's office, the mayor's house, and a few shacks. Is that right? I think that is right.
Yes, sounds about right.
Oh, and a temple.
That's right, the temple of the Holy Finger.
The middle finger.
The abandoned workshop, the Green Rabbit.
Yeah.
Which is the tavern.
Named after
the constable's office and a house. And a few shacks. Yep. So let's see. And we have Morgan, the young woman, the young waif lost in the woods.
Young girl
lost in the woods, found by the woodsman Will. Gideon.
Don't woodsmen usually leave waifs in the woods?
Sometimes. 808, Ichabod, and the rebel Opie.
It's 8008.
8008.
And boob.
Morgan calls him the Tin Man.
And when we had talked, last session was a lot of generating the characters and whatnot, generating the town, getting started with the adventure. But as I was kind of thinking about the session last week, I had questions about your characters. So one of the tropes that we hit on in the setting of our game is that of religious strife, active religious strife, like open warfare is kind of the way I see it. Though maybe it's died down, maybe the countryside's been burned and desolated by that. I don't know. We'll find out. But I am curious, and we had hit on the idea of the old gods and the new. And some of your characters were followers of those old gods, and some of them chose to believe in the new gods. So if I could just have a quick roll call about what each of you think about the gods and the religious wars that have been ongoing. Let's go ahead and start with Morgan.
All right. Morgan is a firm believer, or was grown up to be a firm believer in witchcraft.
Okay.
So very much the ways of magic, not so much the ways of the old gods or the new gods, but just the power of magic and witchcraft.
So separate from the religious
right.
religious
Separate from
strife.
those two big warring factions.
Okay. How about Will?
Will is a firm believer in the old gods. Specifically, let me pull it up. I was reading this earlier. Where is it?
Well, let's not get too far into it. I think I'm just taking a kind of a roll call right now.
Yeah.
How about for Gideon? Is he a follower of the old or the new?
He is definitely a follower of the new because he sees the old gods as having been related to his ancestor that brought about the corruption.
Oh, all right. And 808? 8008?
I don't know. I mean, do clockworks have the ability to have a belief?
Well, have you seen Red Dwarf?
That's purely within your purview right now. Though it could be a questioning thing. You might fall somewhere in the middle about, I think Morgan has her own set of beliefs around magic and its place in the universe, and it's sort of something separate than religion. And maybe 8008 has some sort of similar feelings, or maybe this is just those are the gods of men, right? I don't know.
Right, because he was built, or it was built to be magically inclined. It was supposed to be like a sorcerer's assistant,
right?
But somehow it showed up here. So yeah, I would say that he believes in magic and scientifically based magic. Let's say.
Okay.
It's more like alchemy, I guess.
Yeah, engineering, science, and mechanics. Those are the precepts and tenets of his faith. Okay.
The one I was looking for was from the old faith for Will is the Horned King, the god of the wilderness, basically.
Okay, we will get there. I like this Horned King idea.
Tell me more of this Horn King.
Let's see. How about Ichabod? Where does he fall in these?
Well, Ichabod was a member of a strange heretical sect.
A heretical cult. A heretical sect.
Yeah. Splitters! And Opie, he follows the old gods.
Okay.
It's good enough for Pa, it's good enough for me.
Okay. So let's see. Opie is the old gods. And
I'm going to guess
Ichabod is the new from this heretical sect.
Well, it's a heretical. I thought it was a heretical sect of the old faith. Yeah, it says I'm a devotee initiate of the old faith, but it was
Okay.
but I fell out and
Into this heretical kind
into
of
this heretical
okay.
sect of the old faith, sort of,
Okay.
basically a right-wing nut job group, kind of people
Okay.
that give Christians bad names.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
He's a proud boy.
Well, we can dig into those things a little bit. So, all right. I think that is everyone. Will, Morgan, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 6 of you.
I love the fact that Ethan wants to run this.
Isn't that great? I don't know if you saw, Nils, but Ethan had a call out for players. He's going to run a Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign.
Yeah, and if I can't get enough players, then I'm just going to reserve it for a big con game.
Early sections of it could be con games.
So I have a question about this principle that we have about active religious strife.
Uh-oh.
How interested are you guys in kind of exploring and investigating the religion of the land? Is it something that you just sort of want to be in the background, or do you think it should be an active piece of the game that we play? And I don't mind either way. I'm just trying to get a sense of how heavily this will play in the storytelling for the game.
Well, I don't have a preference one way or another. It's sort of, if that's the flavor of the game we play, then that's the flavor of the game we're playing, is how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm just sort of looking forward to exploring whatever's in front of us. And if that involves, it's like when we were playing Lamentations of Flame Princess with John, that whole religious 30 Years War strife was, big deal. And that was a big part of what we were playing.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but it wasn't like I sought that out. So
okay, sure. I hear you. And does anybody else have feelings about this one way or the other?
Not particularly.
Okay. Ethan?
Not really.
I'd feel stronger if I was playing Gerda, probably, but
I mean, it's like if it shows up, it shows up, but I won't actively seek it, right?
Okay. Who knows? Maybe we're going to found our own monastery by the end of all this.
Maybe.
Okay, Gideon.
Monastery of the 4 religions.
That's it.
Gideon, I'd like to know, what are the false tenets of the old gods?
That
two wrongs don't make a right, but 3 do.
I'm sorry, what?
2 wrongs don't make a right, but 3 do. Sorry.
That their path to salvation is, or redemption, or whatever it is that they're trying to. The main thing that they're preaching is actually a path to corruption, and that was one of the key things that led to the case we're in.
Okay. So their path to spiritual enlightenment is in fact a path to corruption?
Yes.
You got to be so careful. That's why I always read the ingredients.
And let's see, Will, how did the new gods first come to these lands?
It was initially a group of people of the old faith who broke off from the old faith when they saw all the corruption spreading, who thought that it was the old faith that was causing it. That was how that came about. Is there actually a sect of the original?
So it's a splinter. It's a splinter. It was a splinter faction.
Exactly. The Great Schism, shall we say?
Splintering. Schism.
This world's Martin Luther.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay, and Ichabod, what secret of the new gods do you know to be true? Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Because I'm an initiate of the old faith.
Right, but there's some inalienable truth about their tenets, practices, or beliefs. What is that?
That they're coming.
They're coming.
The new gods are coming, whether you wish to believe in them or not.
Oh, the new gods are coming. Cool. Great. Okay. So that sort of helps give some framework and color to the kind of the religious state of the world, and we may grow and build on that. It may just sort of stay as sort of stage dressing or window dressing there in the background. I don't know, but we might also have more of these kinds of conversations further down the road. So when we last left our heroes, you had encountered a boy who came flying out of the temple of the Holy Finger.
Middle finger, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, and Nils had found not Nils, Gideon had found robes and with the open hand missing the third finger. But that was later. That was later when you investigated the temple, and this boy came flying out about how the priest had attacked him, and he cut him with his knife, and you sent the boy off to the
dirt. They all turned to dirt or clay. Said something about that.
Sent them off to the constable, and when you investigated the temple, it was dark and shadowed, and there were these mounds of dirt, kind of laid out around the open area of the temple, and a number of knocked over candles, and you'd sort of searched through the place and found a trail leading off into the woods there to the southeast, which you chose not to follow, but to return to the temple and search the temple, where you found a room with a small locked door, some vestments and garments. The priest, Ichabod, not Ichabod, what is the priest's name? That is Father Morgan.
That was it.
Yeah, Father Morgan owned private chambers and study. And the gate leading to the graveyard. These are all the things that you found behind those doors within the temple that you had never seen before with your own eyes. The temple was one that was devoted to the old gods, but now devoted to the new. And when you search the altar, the scene opens with the group coming together around the altar, where 808 and Ichabod have discovered this sheet of parchment scrawled in arcane writings in blood. And peering down at it, in the dull flicker of a candle, you recognize that you can all read and recognize. You can all make out these words. In fact, if you could speak these words, you would summon forth an incantation. So in this game, incantations are essentially scrolls. This is what you found here in the mess of the temple itself. And anybody could invoke this incantation should they wish to read the words aloud. And And the meaning that you get from this incantation is that it's that this incantation is designed to locate powerful magics.
Mm.
Now, any questions about the last session or the setup that I've made so far?
I recall something about the kids screaming. They all turned to mud or something like that. Is that my imagination?
What you did get out of the boy, as you know, he was as he was jammering and yabbering, and Morgan was trying to calm him before she sent them. Before you all sent him off to the constable, was that he stabbed Father Morgan. He said initially that he cut him with his knife, but what Morgan actually, not Father Morgan. That's one of our characters' names, Morgan.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry,
think it was Father Morgan.
when the boy stabbed the priest, that's what he got out of him, not just a cutting, but a stabbing. And when he stabbed him, his face all turned to dirt and mud. Yes, that's what you got out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Did the priest completely collapse, or just his face?
That's what terrified him, and when he ran.
Okay.
When the boy ran.
Okay.
All right. Then I remember that we had considered tracking out, and Will had found the trail and knew he could find the trail, but we didn't want to go after him in the dark.
Right. It wasn't it wasn't dark, but it was late in the day.
It was getting dark.
Right.
Yeah, it was, that fall season, kind of what we have now, and coming on 4 o'clock now. The sun's getting low in the sky. The temperature's starting to drop. The mists are starting to rise, and you all thought, well, maybe not traipsing out into the woods at this time would be
wise.
Prudent.
We ain't gonna find a teddy bear picnic, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You go out to the woods today, you'll never believe your eyes.
Solomon. Father Solomon is the name of the priest.
That was it.
That was it.
That's right, because I made Shazam jokes. That was right.
Yeah, it's a number of same syllables as Morgan. Solomon, Morgan.
Close enough.
What would you, 808, what will you do?
Biggie, biggie, biggie,
biggie. I will not make that noise. I will, being that it sounds like I'm of the people here, the most magically aware, I will roll up the scroll and keep it.
Okay. Note that,
put it
please.
In my belongings.
Yeah, please note that down on your character sheet. And I will tell you the type of scroll it is in just a moment. That way you can have an accurate record of what it is, so we can kind of avoid some of that. What did you get? I don't remember.
What is it? I've never seen one before. No one has.
It was the scroll of instant winning.
It is. Yes, it is an incantation of arcane sight. Gideon, or not Gideon, Ichabod, what will you do? The great clockwork gathers up the scroll and secures it somewhere about its person, if you could call it that.
Well, I do. I'm a forward-thinking kind of guy, so. Well, I think we need to go back to the temple and start following those tracks.
Okay, you're in the temple now.
Okay.
You could exit the temple through the graveyard and follow those tracks out into the woods.
It's daylight now, right?
Other avenues that are open to you you could visit the constabulary, follow the tracks, or maybe seek out the mayor.
Well, I think we should definitely talk to constabulary before we follow the tracks.
Okay.
But it's not. I think it's. Yeah, it's Opie who has to go talk to constabulary because, Ichabod has a bad reputation.
Opie's the rebel, right? But Ichabod's the heretic.
Yeah, well, one of them is homeless and
I think that's Opie, right?
I thought it was Ichabod was the homeless guy who killed somebody.
I don't remember.
Let's check. Such depth to my 0 level characters.
Right, already.
Yeah. Yep. That's the other thing about this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Opie.
135.
Opie's the fence and the rebel. Yeah.
808.
8008135 works for the mayor and has the informant trait, and so he probably has a good or somewhat of a connection with the constable to try to.
Yeah, and then you're right. It is Opie.
Okay. If you go to visit the constable, the sun will set by the time you finish your.
Right. Okay. But I don't think we were planning on going out into the woods anyway, were we?
Well, I know that
Ichabod
had suggested maybe doing just that.
Oh, I was saying if it's daylight.
Ah. Well, it is. It is daylight. It's 4 o'clock.
Right, but it won't be daylight long.
On a fall afternoon.
No, and that's when the haunting. That's when the veil between living and dead is very thin.
Okay, so for the constable then.
Besides, he might have beer.
Or at least a beard.
Okay. Yeah. So remember that you're all members of this community. You're all members of Last Hope, whether it's kind of on the periphery or within the town center itself. 808 already has kind of that bond to the mayor in servitude to him as an informant, a whisperer of the comings and goings about the town. Let's see here. And as you go walking up the road towards the constable's office, you don't see that kid anywhere around.
Well, we're looking, asking people if they go by. Hey, did you see that kid running by here?
Yeah, Morgan's very curious.
Because we know who the kid is, right?
You don't know his name,
but he's the blonde kid. He lives across the street from what's his name?
No, yeah. So he's not a resident of the town. He's not part of the community. This kid, when you stop to think about it, like, whose kid was that anyway? And where did he come from? Where's his parents? What the hell? It's not really, he's maybe 12. That's probably about the age that you got off of him.
Will looks at Morgan and goes, "You didn't even get his name?" And she just looks innocently back at him.
Sort of shrugging her shoulders.
What? He was freaking out.
You told me to calm him.
You didn't say get his. You didn't say get his details.
So the constable's office is very much like that Old West sheriff's office. The buildings are sort of up on raised foundations, wooden plank boards around them, kind of serving as porches, but also as makeshift sidewalks about the place. And Constable Cray is in his office with his back turned to you, speaking to someone just out of sight.
Oh, I'm sure he's got the kid in there.
Which of the three of you will enter this place? It's not a big office, so all 6 of you couldn't jam in. I just like you to choose.
Opie doesn't like being in there.
Yeah, Opie's like, I'll wait across the street. I'll be at the tavern maybe.
I need to get a drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody got $1?
I'll pay you on
Not for
Tuesday.
you.
808-135 will go in.
Okay.
Will go in as opposed to Morgan, even though Morgan's the
Okay.
more cutesy talker because Will's older.
Craig jumps, at the appearance of 808. Oh, God damn it! Why are you always sneaking up on me like that? You see his he's kind of hunched over and has his arm in a sling, and his shoulder and his bicep is all bandaged up and bloody.
That's not good.
And behind, just out of sight that you couldn't see is like the holding cell, which is very full of you could see 4 rough and ready men kind of crouching, in the cage in various states of disarray. He says, keep away from them. That's a dangerous bunch. The magistrate will be here to haul them off to the city for a few months of hard labor. Nothing more than common criminals, highwaymen, and bandits. That's what we're plagued by these days.
Well,
What do you want? What do you want? I don't even know what to call you. You're not a man, and you're not a being.
Did a young boy come through here? We had some trouble over at the temple, and he was pretty shook up, so we sent him over here to calm down.
Huh. He collapses into his chair behind a desk. I haven't seen anybody come through. Not a boy. Though I've just returned.
Well, he said that Father Solomon attacked him. The boy did.
What? His eyes go up.
When the boy got too scared and tried to stab Solomon, Solomon turned into mud and the boy ran away. We've been in there and the whole area is ransacked and there's trails heading out into the wood.
Jesus.
And no sign of Solomon.
I knew that Solomon was tied up with that weird new mumbo jumbo, but I never figured him for that he'd take his wrath out on a kid.
Hey,
yeah, new Colt will do that to you.
I thought I recognized the kid, and I keep thinking about it. I can't remember whose kid that was.
What did he look like?
He was a kid, kind of average, short, kind of light colored hair. Dirty. They're all dirty. Now you mention it, I can't remember exactly what he did look like.
Well, we'll talk amongst ourselves to kind of come up with the best description that we have.
Okay. The best description that you had was maybe just under 5 feet. Really striking blonde, brilliant blonde hair. Dirty as if he had just been rolled in the mud.
See, I remember
dust
that
of the
part.
street. And with a wicked looking knife. This wasn't like when you stop and think about it, it wasn't like a common utility knife, right? Like,
No, it was like it was like a sacrificial knife.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe it could have come from the temple, though, it's not something I think that's kind of the startling thing that kind of puts the kid out of place in your mind is that knife. The the ruffians are kind of glowering at you from the
Glower.
from the
As we
cells.
describe the kid or talk about any of this, do they kind of show any kind of sense of recognition?
Sure. Make a challenge. So that's looking for a 10 on a trait. I have to look at your character sheet to see what.
Intellect, agility, will.
Intellect would be fine. Or is there
perception? Actually,
I think there's a derived perception. Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not super familiar with your character sheets.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm at a -2 because
of being a clockwork.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Go for it.
You don't get us.
Oh, okay, so I don't make it. I rolled a net 8.
Yeah. So you missed. Okay.
Will repeats the description of the boy towards the guys in the cell and says, "Any of you guys seen him in your doings in these parts?"
They kind of clamber up and move back away, and one of them turns his back on you.
Yeah, that's what I thought, punks.
I don't think they're nice people.
All the more reason to insult them.
So you kind of having this sidebar conversation. One of them lunges out against you at the, trying to get you within arm's length, but you're still a few feet away.
I just smirk at him.
Oh, okay.
He's sassy.
That's the first character to die.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know what to tell you about this boy. Nobody showed up here. I need to put my feet up, if you don't mind. And he kind of winces and sort of gets himself up and goes back towards a side room off the main office there. He says the magistrate should come through in the morning, or maybe the day after next. Oh.
That is so weird.
What's that? What's weird?
The kid just disappeared.
Well, he didn't show up at the magistrate's, that's for sure.
Well, it's almost like he was sent out to distract us while somebody got away out the back.
Mm.
Do you remember TikTok there recognized one of the spells there that was open on the altar as one that would summon a elemental or an earth spirit or something like that, and we found the little piles of dust around. I'm wondering if somebody summoned something and that's what we interacted with, was whatever was summoned, and that didn't disappear after it did its job.
Very, very astute.
Well, it was all dusty and dirty, and that same dust was all over the temple. Maybe he was dusty and dirty from being in there. I don't know, but there's something about earth spirits going on.
Hey, Daddy.
Spirits, man, they unpredictable, especially them new faith spirits.
They imported new ones.
Well, I think we should probably go to the inn for the night.
Mm-hmm. Because the constable's going to want to... We didn't find a body of the priest, did we? We assumed that's who ran away.
You did not find the body of a priest.
We didn't find any bodies. We found piles of dust.
We found piles of dirt. Not so much dust, but dirt. Like dirt that you would have, pulled up out of the farmer's field kind of dirt.
Right. Like ashes to ashes, dirt to dirt.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I'm getting a little creeped out. Yeah, let's go back to the inn and get a good night's sleep and trying to figure out. And the knife. The kid was carrying a knife. I just figured it was something from the temple, but when I think about it, Why would they have a knife like that in the Temple of the New Gods? Yeah, we
Because
never had
they the new gods.
Yeah, we never had a knife like that when they were the old gods, let me tell you.
Exactly what Will's telling you.
Okay, so you guys are headed for the tavern, it sounds like, the Green Rabbit.
Yep.
Okay, just skimming my notes. Yeah, so the Green Rabbit is run by a nasty old bitch, Blanche. And, you know, she's a pipe-smoking, foul-mouthed tavern keep that serves good food and strong drink, and there's always space for a traveler at the Green Rabbit. It's just it can be a little bit grating on your nerves. Is your plan to rest a while here? Rest the night?
Yeah, at least the night.
Okay. It'll cost you 5 bits, and that'd be food and a spot up in the common room, which is kind of the attic of the tavern itself, and up in that attic, it's just like a big common open dormitory, 20 cots or so, and you just sort of make your own space there.
Well, don't we have our own sleeping arrangements?
Do you?
I got a shack in the woods.
Sure. So Will lives out in the woods in a shack.
That's where Morgan stays.
What about Gideon?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He was a traveler, so yeah, I guess he would be staying here.
Okay. So maybe he's a recent arrival to the town.
Right. Yeah, that's right. He was traveling to try to find his quest stuff, and then the 8008135 would be just like, it doesn't matter really where he goes.
Yeah, he can just park himself anywhere, really.
Yeah,
he doesn't really sleep.
It kind of switches off. I think recharges
so
whatever.
Which, for a side for the moment, one of the things about clockworks is that they have to have a keyhole they can't reach.
Mm-hmm. Someone else has to wind them.
Right. So mine is on the bottom of the right foot, and because of his mechanical joint structure, he can't reach the bottom of his feet.
Ah, okay, right. He can't lift his arms are too short to get to the bottom of his feet, and his legs can't lift up high enough, type of thing.
Or they can't bend sideways to get to him. Right.
Oh, all right, great. I like that. And what about Ichabod and Opie?
I think we determined last time that they're not on the run so much as they've been on a move with all the chaos and everything, and
right.
And it's 10 bits for a copper, right? And 10 copper to a silver.
Right.
All right, so I've got Ichabod's paying for Opie's and his.
Okay.
Like I said, they're not on a run, but they're staying on the move.
Sure. And Opie, what was the first vision what was the first vision that brought this group together?
Hands and eyes reaching out of darkness, just moving towards us, and right before it grabs you, wake up.
And were these the hands and eyes of your companions that are now around you, or
no? These are hands of shadow and smoke and fear and pain and hands so vast they could engulf the universe.
And this is sort of a vision that you had, that when you mentioned it to Ichabod, he said, "Yeah, I've had that," and you heard the others talking about similar things, and this
had the same dream.
This is the first binding of the group. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I had the same dream.
Okay.
Will and Morgan were just in the tavern talking about it, and Ichabod and Opie overheard. And
okay, very cool.
And in time of such chaos and religious strife, it's best not to ignore portents.
No, especially not if you follow the old gods.
Or the new, for that matter.
Okay, great. Very, very, very creative. So is everybody staying at the Green Rabbit? I know that it sounded like maybe Will and Morgan might retreat back to their shack in the woods, which would be just off the map here, not deep in the woods itself, but
just off
maybe
panel.
some 200 yards off one of the directions. I put a couple of tags out on the map so that we know what were some of the big landmarks here. There's mostly just ramshackle shacks, kind of old dilapidated houses. There's still one reasonably fine house, and that's the tavern owner's home, which she still keeps up, along with the rabbit itself, mostly from the funds and income of that.
And the mayor's home's okay, I assume.
Yes, but the mayor's home is also off panel here, probably the opposite direction from Will's.
Will doesn't like to be close to the authority.
Okay.
They just don't get along super well.
So everybody but Will and Morgan are
at the Green
staying
Rabbit.
At the Green Rabbit. All right, great. Okay, anything else you plan to do this evening before you retire?
Well, we'll ask around of the anybody there about the kid. Both, have they seen him come through, or they recognize the?
Or is there a relative visiting?
Oh, okay, right. So you're gonna ask around about this kid. Sure. Gideon, why don't you give me a challenge? You can use. I'm going to have to bring up a character sheet just so I have the same
stat line to look at.
Yeah.
To remember the language.
Right. And I will just pop this out over here. Sorry, guys.
No problem. I'm painting cobblestones. It's all good.
Yeah, how about intellect, Gideon?
Yep.
It looks like if you click on the modifier on the character sheet, it will ask you for a roll of dice.
There you go. Okay.
And it might ask you for a boon or a bane.
It does. 12. So I make it
handy.
Okay, so you pass. Yeah, the serving wench is like, yeah, that boy was here. That boy was here just last night with those bastards in from out of town. The ones that were smashing up the place just a few hours ago, and the constable came in, Craig came in and broke their heads, but one of them cut him really bad. That boy was hanging around with him, but he ran off like when they started drinking.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So he was with that rabble.
So does it mean the guys who were over in the jail cell? Did you get a name for the kid?
No, I didn't get a name for him. Those guys are those guys, I'm lucky that
Hey,
Craig was here.
Hey, TikTok.
He ignores you until you use his right name.
Hey, boobs.
Yes.
Listen, we should go tell the constable that kid's tied in with these guys, because I bet the kid's going to break them out.
I was worried about that.
Let's go warn the constable.
Or if nothing else, at least kind of keep an eye on the building.
Yeah, good idea. Let me know when you need me to wind your foot.
So in game terms, if I ever fail, did I fail? I'll have to read the rule again. But
Okay.
Maybe I need to be wound up already. I thought it was if you I don't know. I'll look it up. Anyway, at a certain point on a challenge, if I do badly, then I wind down.
I think it's if you roll a natural 1 or something.
Yeah, like if I get a 0 or less or something like that.
Yeah.
Something really bad. So
Okay.
but yes, I will. Oh shoot! Oh, there it is. Oops. Yes, I will. Since I don't, there's not. I didn't see a lot of information about it, but I'm assuming he doesn't need sleep or it doesn't need much, so he will kind of go over and watch the station himself, surreptitiously away from the constable's office and keep an eye on it.
Sounds like maybe you're like squirreling yourself into a corner somewhere or up against the building and kind of doing that kind of weird watching thing that you do when you're just perfectly silent and you're not moving at all. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Squirreling is a good adjective because remember I have a pet squirrel.
Oh, that's right. You do have a pet squirrel. Okay. Okay. Anybody else doing anything particular before we retire for the evening?
No, just Ichabod is always listening for anyone else who might be mentioning the same visions.
Okay.
Just because he's convinced it means something.
Means you drank too much last night.
Well, that could be true as well. I won't deny it.
Okay. So retiring for the evening, the moon rises full into the sky, kind of illuminating much of the town. And 8008 is standing his silent vigil while the rest of you are catching what rest you can, uncomfortable or comfortable as it may be.
Quite comfortable for Morgan and Will. They're used to this.
Mm-hmm. And from the constable's office, 808, make a perception check. Perception challenge, pardon me.
Mm-hmm. Uh, 15.
You hear a crash.
I knew it!
Constable's office.
I'll start.
What will you do?
His head's going to spin around and the alarm goes off.
Alarm will not activate.
He's our own personal Inspector Gadget.
That's right. I'll start shouting, trying to raise the alarm, actually, and but also run to the area where I heard the crash.
Okay. As you like bound up towards the constable's office and you're about to reach the door, you hear a muffled cry. What? No! Oh God! You crash into the office and you see one of the ruffians, like rifling through the desk of the constable, and
Mm-hmm.
2 more appearing from the doorway of the side room. What will you do?
Are the 2 peering from the side room? They're like out of the cage, out of the cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see the cage door. The cage door is like kind of swinging open.
Right. Okay.
That's not the way it's supposed to be. They're supposed
So
to be the other side.
Depending on what you do will dictate what happens next.
Right. Yeah. Let me just.
Everybody that was sleeping in the Green Rabbit can make a perception check. Sorry, perception challenge.
Will and Morgan are snoozing a long ways away.
Yeah, you're a little ways away.
Let me see how I do this. Okay, so I go into main.
Yeah, and then if you
go to
look,
the spider web.
Yep, the spider web, and where it says perception, there's a little plus there. If you click that, that'll tell you how many boons or banes to add.
Oh, yeah, I have 0.
So just hit submit, and it should throw the die for you.
Ooh.
Did it? What did Ichabod roll?
A 2.
That's not good.
So Ichabod is soundly sleeping. Like
he's had a long day. Let's see what
There we go.
But Opie, is up like a shot.
Okay, hold. I have 3D dice enabled, and I'm not getting them.
Oh, let's see what's going on. I have them enabled also.
Let me try.
Maybe it's just in the character sheet.
Or the
mod. No, that wouldn't be the module.
Oh, it's not displaying them for me either.
No, that's weird. What if I roll here? No display.
Weird.
Not that it matters. That's just a aesthetic.
It's just a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But if that's not working, it always makes you wonder what else is not working. Enabled background chat beep, enable advanced dice icons, drag and drop, etc. Enabled 3D dice, automatically roll 3D dice.
Yeah. I've
Enabled
got the same
chat
thing.
avatars. Yeah.
Maybe something's broken with their implementation.
I blame
It could be. I mean, I'm seeing on my side that there's images that aren't loading next to all of our names, so it looks like something might be up there.
I'm going to blame all the fires. But Opie's up in a shot. Icky, wake up, man. Wake up. Wake.
Icky
Sounds
and
like
Opie.
I was about to say Icky and Opie.
Itchy. He calls him Itchy, as in, itchy and scratchy. Itchy.
And Gideon, did you pass or fail your
I'm sorry,
perception
I
challenge?
didn't think to roll his. No, he's well asleep too.
Okay. All right.
So first
we're gonna go
Ichabod
to a combat round.
Oh no.
Yes.
Anyone, what I'd like you to do is, I have this thing. Let's see.
Have you been seeing the doctor about it yet?
Mm-hmm.
They have medication for that.
Huh.
A thing, wonderful thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky.
There we go.
I forgot about that.
So I made this thing like an initiative tracker. You'll probably see it on the Roll20.
Yeah.
And what I thought, we don't really have tokens right now. We may in the future or we may not. But what you can do is just grab your dice, one of the die icons that you rolled, and you can just drop it onto the table, and then that becomes a token in its own right. And you can put it on the the thing that we made there for initiative. And remember, during a combat round, you can choose to place your token you can choose to act in a fast turn or in the slow turn. Heroes always go first, whichever turn they go into. In the fast turn, you have one action available to you. In the slow turn, you have two actions available to you, kind of like in DCC, right? Where one of them could be a move and one of them could be a combat action. So I think the way I'd like to do it is just think that you have two actions available to you in a slow turn. You could move, you could fight, move, you could move, fight, you could do two other things, right? They don't necessarily need to be a move or a fight action, but it's two things. And but you can only ever make one attack per round unless you have some sort of special ability that allows you to do more. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
You can do two things, but only one can be combat.
Correct. So for example, here, I'm going to grab a couple of dice and I'm going to put them just here on my tokens down in their initiative orders. Oops.
It didn't let me put the 4 down.
Did you grab that little icon or did you grab the number?
Oh, I grabbed the number is what I grabbed. Grab the icon. Thanks to Safety Tip Egon.
Let's see, I'm using green dice, which I don't really want to use because they're I'm going to change my color.
You're generally yellow like caution tape.
Right. I'm yellow. I should be yellow. I should always be yellow caution tape.
I'm not judging. I'm just observing and reporting.
Right. Okay.
So, okay. That's interesting. You can if you roll off the sheet, you can't drag the number over because you can't. There's not an icon.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what. I'm not sure how to do this, right? Because we don't have tokens. I could probably whip up a few tokens.
Meh.
The other difficulty is that because we each have two characters, we have to, if they're doing different things.
Yeah, you just have to be like one or two kind of thing, right? And then just change the number on your character sheet. And I don't know if this is going to work. It was just sort of an idea I had.
Shit.
What was that?
Was a sneeze or cough?
Oh.
That was a cough. I've been doing a lot of it in the last 2 weeks. I don't know why.
Oh. Did you get some rain up there in Sac Mills?
Yeah, it was raining pretty hard all day.
Oh, thank goodness. It really cleaned the sky out a lot.
Obviously need to stop the fire, but now the rain is going to cause mudslides and the recovery efforts recovery, like for a better term, much worse.
Yeah, but it's sucking the smoke out of the sky right now, so I'm sorry. I really feel like I'm smoking again.
That's 16. Nice, Ethan. Okay, and let's see, Peter, you had put a token out there that I seem to have
I see the 4 right there.
I put it back there. So okay. Did you want to be slow or fast?
I want to be slow because I'm going to do 2 things. I want to get up and wake up my friend.
Okay, you are awake, so that's a given.
But I might get up, like, grab what little stuff I have to be able to move and move over to the next group.
Okay.
I figured I had to do something. Of course, it's not like DCC. I'm not covered in equipment.
Well, there's that.
Opie's got shit. So the first thing he's doing is waking Itchy up.
Okay. Well, let's do the fast turns first. So that looks like it's probably 808. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so you get to take the. Is there? Hold on, just a second.
That doesn't bode well. Okay, I'm sorry, but there's something really adorable about Halfling Mafia. I don't know why I find them so cute.
I like the teddy bear mafia personally.
Well, they're not part of Wolfsong, but if they are, I'll paint them.
They are now.
They will be when you write them up, that's for sure.
That's exactly what they're going to be.
Well, we're still alive as long as, you know. Is that Aaron or Nils? I hear scraping things.
That's me.
Sorry, guys, I'm back with you. I was just helping the wife in the kitchen.
Is that what you kids are calling it nowadays?
Mm-hmm. That's what we call it. All right. 808. What will you do?
Yes.
He'll save the day. That's what he'll do.
So you come bursting into the constable's shack.
Mm-hmm.
The holding cell is swinging open. There is one of the ruffians rifling through the constable's desk, and two are emerging from the side chamber. You know there were four.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the fourth. What will you do?
Right. So I'm going to use my 300-pound metallic frame and basically bum rush and tackle the guy going through the desk.
Oh, you're going to just charge the guy that's at the desk. I like
Yes.
That's super cool.
I like that a lot.
All right, let me check and see. So the way this works is you're going to make an attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
And usually use your strength for melee. You use your agility for
doing
Ranged.
stuff
for ranged attacks, missile attacks. And what you try to do is you try to beat the target's defense. And the defense for these guys
is less than 300 pounds.
Oh,
I think it's a 3.
I think I think we'd be generous and give him a 4.
okay. you're catching on, Ethan. I like it.
Can't make it too easy.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the stat block on these guys.
No problem.
Yeah, they have a defense of 10, and I'll give you a boon for the use of your mass, your sheer size and bulk, and the startling approach that you're taking.
Right.
You do know that I will tell you though, if you charging into the office like this, you'll be engaging yourself in a melee.
Right. Yeah. Well.
And okay. Yeah. Well. What are you gonna do?
And a boon is +1 to the die. Is that right?
It's a plus. It's a plus 1d6.
Oh. Okay. So.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
Okay.
So I think what you do is you click the strength.
Right.
And then for the boon, I think you just push 1.
Yeah, we'll see this happens. Yeah, I saw a number here. 14.
14's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you.
Oh yeah, okay.
My 3D dice just hit the table when I tried rolling, so I don't know why that happened.
Oh, I saw.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So, looks like I rolled a 9, and then I rolled a 6. I'm looking at the formula, trying to understand it, because I rolled a 9, and it looks like I rolled a 6, because that would have given me a 15. I'm at a -1. No, see, that's not coming up right. The boon isn't coming up right. Because what I'm seeing on the table is a 9 and a 3, which would have been a 12.
You're seeing Aaron's dice.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Or am I not seeing my dice? Okay.
Ethan's feeling empathy smoke.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a 14.
Okay, that's a hit. And how do they do hit points in this game? Health.
Right, so it's you rack up damage, and that if the damage hits the health total, then they're dead.
Right, they start taking damage points, correct?
Right, yeah, you keep adding up damage instead of reducing health.
Right. And once you get to your health target, then you die.
Yeah.
Or not you die, but I mean you're.
But you go through the phases of dying.
However that works in this game too.
Grief, it's a really complicated death system.
Okay. Well, we'll get there if and when we need to.
When we need to.
So what is the health cause, or do I roll a die damage?
You're just now going to roll damage, so you're going to do a d6 damage.
Okay.
And we'll see how banged up these guys are. I'm still trying to figure out how the formula works.
Looks like I got a 5. But my strength is -1, so I'm not sure if since I'm using kind of a rush attack, if that would give me a minus at all or not.
Okay, I think I see the way the formula works in the character sheet. Let's try one more test.
Yep, it's working right.
Okay, so the way it works is when you bring up when you hit the button on the character sheet, it's going to ask you for a number of boons or a number of banes. And if you're boons, you just put in a number, so like 1 boon or 2 boons or whatnot. And then if you're a bane, you put in a minus number, like -2 for -2 banes. And what happens is when you roll those,
I showed up.
What happens when you roll those is the algorithm will look for the highest value of those boon or bane dice and then apply that to your d20. So if you look at the example that I just threw with 2 banes, I had an 8. With 2 banes, I threw a 5 and a 6, and the 6 was applied, so my net result was 2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Just
Okay,
tell
no.
me about the rabbits, George.
Just the rabbits. I only want to know about the rabbits.
I don't care about the bunnies. I want the rabbits.
Okay, that guy goes. Oh,
Smash!
yeah, that guy goes down. Yeah, just 808 just comes plowing through the desk and just over bowls this guy over. Okay, now we're into the slow turns. So there was none of the opponents chose to act in the fast turns, and now we're into the slow turns. Now the heroes go first, and then the opponents go. So you guys are up. Why don't we start with Opie and Ichabod.
Opie's waking Ichabod up. Let's go! Let's go!
Okay, that was one of your actions. What's your second action?
Trying to wake up the other group.
Wake up Gideon?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So you can wake up Ichabod and Gideon. And the side effect there is that now Ichabod and Gideon, you can have a slow turn as well.
Okay.
And which means that you can take 2 actions. You're up in the attic of the Green Rabbit. You hear this, and as you're being woken, you hear this huge crash coming from the constable's office.
Well, I'll jump up and grab whatever. Assuming if I'm not sleeping in my clothes, I
Pretty much.
dressed.
Sure. So
prepare to run downstairs with whatever weapons we can grab.
what weapons will you grab?
Well, we have just our basic, clubs and daggers, but I don't know if there's anything else that we can more substantial that we can grab just from the.
No, you haven't found anything more than that.
Right, okay.
I was hoping the old factory would give us something, but we didn't get a chance to go in there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's see. So that was Gideon. Ichabod, what will you do? So Gideon ran downstairs, and you could get all the way to the constable's office with your second action if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
I'm right behind him.
Ichabod's right behind him, and Opie is sort of bringing up the rear. You guys sort of almost jump up and just race out, and Opie's sort of flat-footed.
Wait for me! I woke you up.
Will, you can give me a perception check with a Bane to see if you can hear the commotion going on in town.
Okay. Oh, I actually did it, even with the big 5 on the Bane.
Okay, so in the next round, you'll have an option to make some choices.
Okay.
And those choices, you'll get an option to do fast or slow turns the way the other players have.
Sounds good.
And now we're moving on to the opponents that both have slow turns. What will they do? They just saw their friend get bowled over.
By a truck.
By a truck.
By a transformer.
More than meets the eye.
More than meets the eye.
Nice. Very nice.
So they passed their morale.
Transformers.
And
very
now
disappointed about them passing their morale, just so you know.
Their action check is 8.
I was hoping they would just surrender, quivering in fear.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. But I'm a lowly level 0.
That's it.
One of them steps forward, is like, whoa, big fella, take it easy now. doesn't have anything in his hands, but you can see like a broken piece of a chair like stuffed into his belt. And the other one like disappears out into the side room there. And you hear like some hurried conversation. All right, it's a new round. What will you do?
I'm going fast.
Okay, you can move your tokens into fast.
In the sense of doing two things if I don't know what's going on. So I think just running there is the best thing I can do right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see, I'm going to do this for you, Peter.
Moving my 4 over to fast times.
Mm-hmm. So that's for your first and your second character.
Yeah, they're both
Ichabod and then Opie.
Yeah, because Ichabod's in front of Opie.
Yeah, in terms of the named references that we have there.
Correct.
Let's see. And then my bad guys, or sorry, the ruffians.
They might just be misunderstood.
I think
they usually are.
Let's see, I need to choose a side. All right. All right, that's what's happening. So the two that are in the side room, they're taking fast turns. The one that's in the main room's taking a slow turn, and then you players have also chosen your actions. So Ichabod and Gideon are now at the constable's office. 808 is extracting himself from the ruined desk.
Mm-hmm.
There's one ruffian kind of a few 3 yards ahead in front of the doorway there to the side room where the constable had retired. And looks like Will and Morgan are taking slow turns, right? Maybe to try to get to town. Okay. Okay, great. So heroes are first.
So do we just decide amongst ourselves the order within our own hero-ness?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Please go right ahead.
Let me have Boobies go first. So the guy that's still in the room with me, he's blocking the door?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wherever the other two guys are, well, I'll try to do the same.
I'll have to ask you to return to your cell. Please return to your cell. I'm here to help.
Okay, I'm going to give you.
But
I'm going to give you a bane for this attack, just for repetitive syndrome, and you don't have a lot of room to get any momentum going as you try to charge into this guy.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Okay. Strength. Oh, okay. I think I need to look up the rules about what happens when I
roll a 1.
Do something bad.
Okay, well, why don't we do Gideon, and then you can look that up
okay.
Sailors are going.
So I'm assuming. So he tries to. He's not able to get extricated enough from the desk to make an effective charge. So Gideon is going to, with his threatening, oh, come on, staff, he'll try to run up and like poke the guy in the stomach and get him to like double over and knock him out of the way.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack.
And... Ooh, Gideon's buff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Like
Great.
17 buff.
Yeah, roll your damage.
Oh, and I looked at the clockwork thing, and it's just if you roll a 0 or less.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
5.
Schmack.
Yeah, he goes oof and like kind of folds over and like just goes down.
We're heroes.
That's because we get to attack first. Looks like the guys are like, okay, you're heroes, 1 free shot.
Looks like it's Ichabod and Opie. Opie's still in the attic of the Green Rabbit. He can use both his actions to get down to the constable's office.
That's what he's doing.
And Ichabod has 2 actions to do with as he will now. So you know, 808 and Gideon are sort of, you know, in the office. You know, the constable's desk's been destroyed, and you know, Gideon's like laid low one of these ruffians who you see has escaped from the cell.
All right. Is there any other ruffians standing about?
None that you can see.
Okay, well, I'm going to stand blocking the door. What's going on here? Constable Ronald, where are you?
Ronald. Cray. Constable Cray.
Constable Cray, where are you?
Cray, Ronald, it's the same thing.
Okay, let's see, and that brings us to slow turns. Let's see. I will let you, let's see, with Morgan and Will, if you can pass an agility or a strength challenge, you can arrive this round. Or, but if you fail, you will injure yourself in the darkness as you're running through the woods.
Okay.
Be eaten by bears.
Or you could take another slow turn. And definitely, it's going to take you 3 actions essentially to arrive in town, and you could shorten that by making this strength or agility challenge. But there's some risk involved.
Okay.
Running through the dark.
Running in the dark. Yeah.
We are foresters, and we are cautious and smart people. So we'll take our time going through, and we'll just like. Well, as we're going through, we're just like sweeping and just making sure no one's making a break through the forest or anything.
Keep an eye out for that kid.
It's exactly what we're afraid of.
Keeping an eye out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're making our way over, but we're not gonna injure ourselves because we know the dangers of the forest at night.
Okay. All right. Let's see. That leaves me.
Nor do we run with scissors.
Well, that might be pushing it.
All right. Let's go ahead and make your choices in terms of the next round.
I'm going to go slow so I can ascertain what's going on and get more actions to react.
For both of your characters or just the one?
Yes.
Okay. And Gideon and 808.
Right, let me think. Okay.
All right. Fast turns, starting with Gideon.
Gideon. So since he was up and mostly able to do what he wanted to do last turn. He's going to try to push the guy that doubled over out of the way and move into the next room to confront.
Oh yeah, he's gone down. Yeah, he's gone down. He's like
right, but I don't know if he's like a lump in the middle of the doorway.
Oh, okay, so you sort of shove him out of the way and run into the side room.
Yes.
Okay, you can see this the constable like sprawled out on his bed, and one hand's kind of flung out over the edge of the bed, that the one that wasn't bandaged and wrapped to his chest. And
did these cowards kill him?
And in the glint of the moonlight, you can see his his head's been smashed in.
These fuckers.
And then there's a swinging window in the back of the room where you assume that these guys probably fled.
Right. So if I have the action, I'll shout out, "They went out the back."
Sure, you can shout that out. All right, now we're on to slow turns for the heroes. I see 8008, Ichabod, Opie.
Opie's outside, and he hears they're going out back. He's going to run around with his sling, spinning over his head to see if he can catch sight of someone running away.
Okay. You do see two figures running off down the road here in the night. You can make a shot at one of them. You'll take one bane for the darkness, and just the fact that they're running. Heck, make it two banes.
I get it. But this is an agility, right?
Yeah, agility.
I have a +1, but then the bane. What do I put here? I put 2.
Put -2.
-2.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, baby!
Go ahead and roll your damage.
Way to go, Opie! What's the damage on a sling?
I'll have to tell you.
Because all I know is DCC.
No, you know other stuff.
Ethan, if you don't mind looking too, it sounded like you might have had your book out unopened. I'm on a tablet with mine, so I'm sort of like shuffling.
Mine's in another file on my computer.
Page 99.
99 Luft balloons.
Where the equipment starts, so it is. That might just be a price though. Nope, there it is. Okay. Sling is a D3.
You said that was page 99?
103 is what it comes out to being.
We need a funky dice button again.
Yeah, I'll build something for this.
Here's a D6.
You can just roll a D3.
So
it's a
3
3.
point. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He could enter.
Let's see. And this guy, and it just hits him right in the back of the head, clunk, and he goes just tumbling.
Sort of like it's like a coconut sound. Bonk.
Hollow coconut sound. Let's see. That was Opie. There's Ichabod.
Ichabod's blocking the door because he doesn't know what's going on, and he's not sure anybody else is left, and he's just making sure no other people aren't running for it.
Okay. Morgan and Will, it's going to take you at least one move action to arrive at the edge of the woods there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a second action for whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. So I'm gonna guess they don't have sight on this guy who's running. So
make a perception check with 2 banes. Just one of you.
Okay. Perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 banes, perception.
Wow.
Oh, we did. We did it.
You do see them.
All right.
We do well when the odds are against us.
You do. Well, it's part it's part the sling stone and the tumbling fall that draws your attention to the north here, and that muffled cry. Oh, and you see the last of these ruffians scampering away into the night. Well, sorry, you see a ruffian scampering away into the night.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if we can, how far away is he at this point? Probably
He's pretty far. I mean, you could. Do you have a sling? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Both Morgan and Will have slings.
You could take a slingshot, but it would be 2 banes.
I rolled an 18.
Right,
you can do this.
We'll go for it.
Do this. Let's take these fuckers down.
We'll go for it.
Still haven't found the kid.
Here's Will's shot.
We will shoot him when we have to. Whew, I finished something.
Okay, so
that looks like a hit for one.
Yeah, I just finished basing my barbarians too.
I just finished painting Roberto Vendetta.
There's a 0.
Okay, so no and no.
Oh,
they both missed.
Oh, I see that was your perception, and that was
basically I rolled for Will, and then it lagged out, so I rolled again, and I just went ahead and took the base roll for.
Oh, okay, because they both had the same
Morgan.
stats.
Yeah, they both basically.
Okay, they both missed it. Okay,
they both missed it.
Yeah,
they gave it a good shot.
This last ruffian runs into the night,
wetting his pants. He won't soon forget us.
You see Will call out or you hear Will call out, "Sucker."
But you do see, when you do see him running, he's carrying a sword in his hand as he's running into the night.
Oh fuck!
Oh no, or maybe a stick. You can't be sure.
But he's armed and dangerous.
He is dangerous. They did murder the constable
in cold blood.
Yeah, cold blood. I guess sleeping is cold blood. So.
So it's official. I don't like these guys.
But the ones that you took down, they are quite dead.
Damn it! I was hoping we could question one of them.
Well,
before we leave this this scene, you could pursue him into the night.
No, because he's probably got someone waiting to cover his retreat.
He is 1 move step ahead of you, so you'd have to get to 3 kind of move steps to capture him. In this running chase into the night.
A
0 level, it might be worth it. But I am a 0 level.
I'm with you. I'm like a 0 level running into the darkness after a dangerous convict. No, I think maybe we still have to wait till light. And this same argument still holds true.
Okay.
I just like him already, and I don't want him to die immediately.
Okay, sure. So we'll close on this scene unless there's anything that you want to do now.
I'm just gonna loot the body, but
loot the body.
Bodies.
They have nothing on them. I mean, they were locked up in jail. What they do have about them are a number of clubs, right? Broken furniture, a smashed up chair, and though searching the searching around the constable's office, you do find his longsword.
Why don't we give that to somebody with good strength?
I agree. It's not the constable using it. Well, whoever can write needs to leave a full report here at the constable's office for when the magistrate does show up.
Okay.
Signed,
The other people of note in the town are Blanche, the tavern keeper, and the mayor.
Yeah. So we're going to tell them.
Okay, so that sounds like maybe your plan for the morning, or your plan for the night, or
well,
morning.
Morning, unless everybody's coming into the streets, which I doubt they have.
Good point.
Well, I think
there's been quite a bit of a commotion.
Yeah, but it was just for a second.
Yeah.
I think we should let them know tonight, because if we don't, and we are seen to be taking the mayor's or the constable's stuff and moving bodies, it's kind of suspicious.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, sorry to wake you, Mr. Mayor, but
I was just gonna go with let him discover the bodies in the morning and make up some story about how they killed the constable in his sleep and then killed each other over his loot.
Yeah, I'm not good with that.
So your plan is to let Blanche know first because she's closest?
Sure.
And she's nearest, and you also want to let the mayor know too?
Yes.
Okay. When you tell Blanche, she just kind of spits. That fool Cray always had it coming to him. I'm sorry to see him go. Jesus, this town's on its last legs.
Yeah, ever since the cult of the new god showed up. Ugh.
Father Solomon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, things aren't.
He's not. Well, I was going to say he's not so bad, but
I don't know.
Because he's only because he's a paying customer.
Yeah, but I think the kid was lying about Father Solomon. I think it was all a ruse.
Certainly could be.
I don't know. That kid was pretty scared. He may not have gone in there with pure intent, but I think he came out of there telling the truth.
Came out in pure terror?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think somebody's trying to play us, and we need to make them pay for that.
So I think the initiative thing worked okay. Just cleaning some things up. When Blanche hears about the Constable Cray, she sends one of the serving girls off to wake the mayor and bring him into town. Not that he's going to do much good, that miserable bastard.
No, but if he's going to wear the mayor's chain, then he has to do a job.
Well, that's why he has 808.
Mm-hmm.
Not for much longer.
Okay, anything else you guys want to do this evening? There are 4 dead bodies in the constable's office.
No, they're not going anywhere.
There is a convict on the loose. There is the temple with the weird shit that was going on there and the trail leading off into the woods. The old boarded and shuttered workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's everything that you know so far.
That's a lot of stuff.
Once we make our report, I figure we go back and try to get any more sleep that we can.
Mm-hmm. So we're fresh in the morning to go check out the workshop and follow the trail.
Okay. Oh, I want to give you guys some details about your weapons so you can update your character sheets as appropriate. 06.
I got a couple slings, a dagger, and I think both my guys have daggers and slings.
Sure. So Daggers are a D3 damage. They are an offhanded weapon. We'll talk about how that works mechanically later. They're also finesse, which means you can use agility as a modifier instead of strength when you're making an attack with them. They can be thrown at a short range. So that's the detail about a dagger. Clubs do a 1d6 damage, and they require one hand. They don't have any special properties about them. I think there was a staff, correct?
Yep.
The staff does 1d6 plus 1. It requires 2 hands, and it's a finesse weapon. So again, finesse means that you can use agility instead of strength when making a melee with it.
Okay.
Can Opie find a good club laying about, something that'll work?
Sure. He could.
Something one of the thugs had.
He could take up the one of the thug clubs. Sure.
Okay.
And then there's also the longsword, which does 1d6 plus 2, and it requires one hand, but it has no special properties.
Let's see. Ichabod is my strength 11 guy.
Gideon's got a strength of 12.
Ooh, there we go. Sounds like he needs a longsword.
Okay.
Yeah, and this type of, so they're basic melee weapons, ranged weapons, military weapons, which require a strength of 11 or more, swift melee weapons, which require agility 11 or more, and then heavy melee weapons, which require strength 13 or more. So that's kind of like
your
the
battle
basic,
axes and your halberds.
right? Your battle axes, your great swords, that kind of stuff, mauls.
Was longsword just strength? A strength weapon?
Strength 11, yeah. It's a military weapon.
Okay.
And yeah, it doesn't have finesse or anything. It's just straight.
Okay. So if Gideon's taking the longsword, that then leaves a staff available.
Right. Does anybody want Gideon's staff? It's
I mean, Morgan will take a staff if no one else wants it.
Okay.
Well, Morgan's the girl, right?
She's the girl.
Yeah, I say stick with things that keep things at range. So no dagger fighting for her, but a staff wouldn't be bad because she could at least try to keep things at a distance.
Exactly. If her professions have anything to speak, she's gonna be some sort of wizard, and we all know a wizard needs a staff.
Well, and based on her background so far, I have a feeling just a few days of carrying it around is going to start sprouting leaves.
Well, I mean, she is supposed to be some sort of prodigy.
Oh, interesting. You can add boons or banes to your weapons when you roll them, just as a click, rather than like the challenge rolls.
That's useful when you get to higher levels and you automatically get boons on things.
Right. Okay, cool.
You see Will and Morgan slink back off into the woods.
Okay, so
I just saw the weapons are underneath the spider web.
They are. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where you have weapons, and then there's this big text field for equipment and notes and things like that. You probably started filling some of your character sheet details with those.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dawn breaks on the town of Last Hope, and a few of the townspeople kind of creep into town, and they're shocked and horrified to see the constable, their last protector, or their protector of this place, really, murdered. There's lots of muttering about leaving town for good, and this place is never going to make it. I don't even know why we came here in the first place. the mayor shows up and kind of wringing his hands and, asks for a full report from 808.
So 808 says that, explains the whole thing with the kid, that according to the serving winch at the Green Rabbit, this kid was seen with the brigands that the constable was holding, so we thought they might break him out. Therefore, he was watching and heard a crash and a cry and ran in and saw that they had gotten out, so he proceeded to engage and pursue.
There's more wringing of his hands, and he's you hear him. He's like leaning over and whispering to Blanche, and she's shaking her head.
Shaking your head like no, or shaking your head like I can't believe this guy's so useless.
Kind of a little of both, maybe.
Both could be true.
Yeah, both could be true.
Both probably are true.
What will you do?
Well, what were we planning on doing? We now have 2 trails to try to follow.
I think we should go after the one outside the church, personally.
I agree. Plus, we know we felt confident we could follow that one.
Right.
Yep. Will is 100% certain he can lead us down that trail.
Do we have any justifiable reason to check out the workshop?
Well, out of curiosity, really, more than anything else.
Right. Not anything relating to the crimes or anything like that.
No, I don't.
Right.
I don't have a feeling that necessarily that'll help us. I was just thinking maybe we'll find things that'll be useful.
Oh, I see. Like there's equipment kind of stuff.
Yeah, or just maybe a clue about why it's been shut down this whole time, or. I'm just thinking at 0 level. I'm looking at my resources, or lack thereof.
Well, let's call upon the mayor, saying, do you have any store of equipment or weapons that we can equip with since we're going out and doing, work for the town?
Sure. So, as you guys are kind of conversing amongst yourselves, making a plan about what you're going to do and taking stock of the assets or your lack thereof, the mayor comes up to you and he says, "Please, I need your help. My son, he's out there somewhere," and he's like waving off in the woods. "He's been on some sort of camping trip," he says. "I don't know what he's been getting up to out there, but he only comes into town maybe once a fortnight for food and supplies, and then he disappears again."
How old is he?
He's a man grown, certainly. And you look at the mayor and
long hair.
No. He's a chestnut lad. Charming, good looking, the apple of my eye. Please.
And you want us to find him?
With these criminals roaming the woods and our sheriff murdered, I fear for his life. Please, find him. Bring him home to me.
All right, well, we'll add that to our to-do list.
Takes out some pen and paper and jots some notes.
So I think what I heard too was that you were interested in seeing how the mayor might be able to equip you or supply you. He says,
or better weapons and
he squints and 808 knows that he's a skinflint by any other term, and he says, "Whatever you can find in the old warehouse, it's yours."
All right, that answers that question.
Well, there we go.
All right, into the warehouse we go.
Okay.
So I say we're going to the warehouse and we're going to follow the trail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
church.
the warehouse is all boarded up.
Right, but
You know, there's a big padlock on the door.
But the mayor has the key.
Yeah, the constable has the key. It's in his
Had the
office.
key, yeah.
It's in his office somewhere. It's easily found. You do find it. You know, it's on his belt, as cold and grisly as his body is. You know, and you'd heard tale about this workshop. You know, it had been one of the key industries here of this town. You know, when the engineer had arrived some 10 or 12 years ago. You know, and he always worked on these weird projects they had going in that workshop. And there were always strange noises going on. But one day, those noises just stopped. And when Cray went to investigate it, he just boarded the whole place up. It's kind of been an abandoned landmark of Last Hope for many years.
So we'll
Dan,
query the
Leonardo
mayor.
da
Why
Vinci.
Sorry, you're both speaking at once.
Go ahead,
808.
Okay.
No,
We'll query the mayor why he borrowed it up.
It wasn't the mayor who boarded it up. It was the constable, because
Oh,
it was dangerous. Right?
Okay.
There is a lot of machinery and equipment in there, and yeah.
And the engineer just disappeared.
Well, the rumor is that he was torn apart by one of his machines.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, this is not going to end well.
I promise it's not me.
Rumors. There's only a little bit of truth to them.
So what will you do? Are you just gonna
We're gonna
get into the workshop and rummage around in there?
yes.
Do you
Watching for giant rats and things.
Okay, cautiously you're going to search the workshop.
Besides, for all we know, maybe ruffians have been hiding out in here. We don't know.
Good point.
Well, yeah, the workshop itself is pretty soundly boarded. You know, it just has one of those big kind of workshop doors, like a double barn door kind of affair that pulls out, and that had been chained up, and any of the windows or anything are all, you know, boarded shut.
So I'm going to light my torch.
Okay.
Was there a lantern in the constable's office?
Oh, good question.
Town watch kind of thing. You might.
Yeah, sure. There is a lantern in the constable's office with but just enough oil for the lantern itself. No extra supplies or things like that. And you know that the town takes supplies through kind of local communal trading, but also sometimes you get sort of merchant wagons that kind of roll through and, you know, barter for you know, goods that the people have grown, or game that they've hunted, or, you know, materials that they've created or crafted. So the first thing that when you enter the workshop is there's a stench of dry rot and decay. And you pretty quickly can see where it's coming from is a man's body that's been torn in two and sort of flung onto either corner of the workshop, this big open space. You know, the lower half, his torso is like sort of jumbled up on a workbench somewhere, and the upper half of it's like just sort of in this disheveled, crumpled corner with its head down. You know, but very very, very dead for quite a while.
I get that this is dangerous, but why didn't they why did they bury the body? Why did they leave it? That's weird. I mean, that's not normal.
And you're peering around with your lantern, and there you see this hulking figure sort of crouched over with the tarpaulin sort of over half of its back, and it's a clockwork, a big one, like twice the size of 8008, with these big, long, dragging limbs.
Oh man!
What will you do?
Well, 808 will use his innate clockwork knowledge just trying to observe it from afar to see if there's any indication that it's still active in any way, or if it's completely defunct or anything like that.
No, it hasn't been wound in many years.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Let's not wind it.
Yep.
Now, maybe it's just my innate paranoia, but I'm thinking this is the thing that ripped a guy in half.
Do you want to investigate it more closely? I mean, you guys have not. I don't have you in my mind's eye anyway. I don't have you into the workshop itself. Just sort of looking into it.
Oh yeah, my two guys are stepping in.
Okay.
And the smaller one is holding the lantern. The bigger one's got.
And I see Opie is the smaller of the two.
I'm pretty sure Opie's the one that Yeah,
and you can see that the what you first took as being rust on this big clockwork is actually dried blood, and it's caked onto its mandible-like appendages at the end of its arms.
You hear Morgan call over to,
and in fact the thing is not rusted at all. It's this brilliant alloy. It's just that splattering of dried blood which you first made out to be rust.
Yeah, you hear Morgan in a little quiet, timid voice ask 8008 if he's related to that thing.
Only in form. I have not seen this before, and I was not made by this engineer, so I'm only related to it in that you are related to any human.
Where do you make it? Or soap or whatever.
You see Morgan kind of like curl up a little closer to inside Will's cloak, kind of hiding a little bit.
Okay.
She does not like this place.
Okay. Is she going in or staying out?
She is staying out for now.
Okay. 808, what are you doing?
I'm going to walk over and select. I'm sorry?
I have Ichabod and Opie kind of investigating the sleeping clockwork. Will and Morgan sort of waiting at just outside, peering in, uncertain about entering.
Right. 808's going to actually walk over and look at the clockwork too, just out of a professional interest.
Kind of curiosity.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure how common clockworks are, but they're certainly not common in this area.
Yeah, they're not, especially out in the hinterlands where you all are now.
Right.
Certainly not very common. They would once, a little more common. They would be like automobiles at the dawn of the 20th century, right?
Right. Gideon will start actually looking around the rest of the area to try to find anything of use for the.
Okay. There you do find a few things. In your search about the place. You find a few coins, but the most interesting thing that you find is, kind of thrown under the workbench on the second story of this workshop. You know, there's like sort of a second story and a loft and like kind of a sleeping area and working area, and thrown under one of these workbenches is a sack, and you almost don't even give it a passing notice, but when you go to turn away, you see a glint of sunlight shining through underneath the sack, and the sack is about 3 inches off the floor.
Like it's levitating?
Mm-hmm, like it's floating.
Hmm. Okay.
And it's up in this sleeping loft where you found a few coins. You find a silver piece.
Ooh.
And 9 copper pieces.
Okay.
You can record those on your character sheet anywhere.
And
what's in the box? What's in the box?
Well, it's either something or nothing.
Ah, how astute. All right, I want to look in the bag.
obviously, it's a dead cat in that case.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll bring the bag down and.
Yeah, so you pick it up and it weighs like a feather. You know, it's kind of like a large burlap sack.
Full of balloons.
Full of balloons, right? Full of balloons. And it's more like leather than burlap, but it's not, it doesn't have the same weight as leather. It's some kind of weird, funky material. And showing it to your companions, you know, the only weird property about it is that it never touches the floor, you know. Gideon goes to hand it to one of the others, maybe 808, and he drops it and it tumbles to the floor, but it doesn't even hit the floor.
But there's nothing.
It just sort of stays at 2 or 3 inches off the floor, but there's nothing in it. You know.
Okay. And did you say that it physically feels lighter than it should?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just as a test, I'll grab some just junk from around the workshop and put it in the sack and see if it seems to lighten the load.
It definitely does. It's not as, you can tell there's something in there, but not as, you know, the debris and the, you know, the cast off bricks and things that you threw in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like
nice. You've heard of bags of holding? Well, this is a bag of floating.
This is a bag of carrying. Aren't all bags of carrying?
So in one of the very early Dragon magazines, somebody did an article on joke magic items.
Okay.
And so one was a wand of lightning.
Lightning.
Not lightning, but lightning.
So it lightens it in color.
Well, no, it was to basically you cast it and make the person float up in the air.
Oh,
that's cool.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing that 808 can discern about the workshop is that, you know, this clockwork could be made whole again, but it would take some time and some really specialized knowledge and material to do that.
But would we want to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, and the last thing that you do find are just a shit ton of tools, like all over the place. There are tools for just about any kind of thing.
Is there any kind of notebooks from the or anything like that? Invention notes.
Oh,
notes
yeah, interesting. No,
owner's manual, warranty forms.
All of that is there's none of that. They're not even like scribbled calculations on you know, on the workbenches or anything.
Right. Okay. Are the tools that are there serviceable as weapons that would be better than what the rest of the party already has? like hammers or?
No, they'd
claws
essentially just be more improvised weapons, more clubs.
So my club, I can just say, is the hammer I picked up here.
Yeah, if you want to make it a hammer, then that would be, I mean, like a carpenter's hammer.
Sure, sure.
And being that it's the workshop of this guy that was making the clockwork, I'm assuming there are some pretty fine clockwork working type tools.
Mm-hmm.
8008135 is going to take those just for personal maintenance.
Well, it's like a first aid kit for you.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you just write down on your character sheet toolkit?
Yeah.
Okay. And Opie's going to point out, because he finds this whole clockwork thing fascinating. Would any of these parts work for you? Like, are any of these gears good? Might be a good thing to have on hand, or any of these belts? Like this belt over here. This looks like a belt that's sturdy, but I don't know. I figure a couple 100 miles that belt might go. Does this belt fit you?
Sure. You could have a clockwork healer's kit as well.
There we go. Let's put that in the bag of floating.
Okay, just go ahead and write that down as well on someone's character sheet. But this is a healer's kit that's just for clockworks. It doesn't work on people.
No, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
That was the problem. The clockwork was trying to heal the engineer, and it didn't quite understand.
Yeah.
Where do I put the screw? Where do I put the plug?
Right in your eye.
Where does the nut go? Oh.
All right. Well, and that as you're sort of now you're exiting the workshop with all your gains, and the camera pulls back to just the shadow and the darkness of the workshop with its doors sort of swinging open in the light breeze. What will you do?
We're heading off the first trail.
Oh, yep. You're gonna head for the trail. Okay. Yeah, and I think what we said was that Morgan will get your name right eventually, Ethan. Will had a pretty good
had a good lock on it.
Good lock, a good perception, a good knowing of the trail that's going off into the woods. So, it's pretty easy for you to track into the forest. But this part of the forest is pretty dense. Lots of undergrowth. There's game trails out here, that wind through the foliage in different places, and this trail just sort of follows some of those, but then breaks off into the densest, of underbrush, of a thicket. It's almost like it's trying to shake any pursuit off of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly is the trail of? Is it a human? Is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are definitely human tracks, but there's like a dragging that's happening too of these tracks.
Like a dragging like it's wounded, or dragging like it's carrying something with it, or dragging that it has a tail.
Yeah, it's like step, drag, step, drag.
Okay.
Step.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a game, sense of the game or whatever, I know that we level up at the end of each or between sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I was listening to about the in the art interview was that one of the things that took a while was the magic, which I don't necessarily know that we're going to be getting into this time. But do we want to go through the leveling up portion this session or next session?
We can do it now or offline too. I mean, that's fine. we're just about at the end of our session tonight. I can play longer because I'm not working tomorrow, but we're about coming up on the conclusion. So
I just wanted to point it out because of time. Time.
Sure, yeah, that's fine, and we'll cover off what we can. I think the complication for magic is more about when you get to choose one of the
specializations.
It's not a specialization so much as I think it's like a school of magic. There's like all these different schools of magic. The traditions of magic, that's what they call them in this game, the traditions of magic. And those traditions of magic, for some players, can be like, oh, fuck, which one do I choose?
Right.
I already know what I'm choosing.
Yeah, so why don't you give... So how about Will, the tracker? Why don't you give me a perception challenge with the Bane?
Okay.
As you're kind of trying to follow this trail off into the forest.
All right.
Doesn't look
No.
good. Yeah, so you pretty much lose sight of that trail.
God damn it.
Can another tracker try to pick it up?
No, but you could try to do something else. So
okay.
I'm going to give you two choices. You could spend some time trying to... You definitely lost sight of the trail here in the woods. The one that had led out from the temple. But you do know that the mayor's son is out here somewhere. You could spend some time searching around in the woods to see if you can maybe
find track of him.
Find him or find a trail that might lead you to him.
That's a good point.
Excellent point.
Why don't we do that?
I love this plan.
Yeah.
All right. So once Will has determined that he has definitely lost the trail on this, and the parties discuss that they want to try and find the boy, he'll look for any signs of human feet or just humans passing by through here.
Okay, sure. So it takes you about sort of a couple of hours, but you know what to do in the woods here, Will.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of run like a zigzag pattern out, trying to pick up any trail or sight of anything. And there, in a glen, you can see like a campsite.
Okay.
And this campsite is like a couple of tents, and but there's no fire smoldering in the fire pit, and there's nobody moving around. And you guys are sort of looking at it off in the, some 100 yards away through the trees, kind of thing.
Oh, excuse me for interrupting. What was the name of the mayor's son? I'm sure he would have told us that.
Oh, yeah, his name is he goes by Alderman.
Alderman.
Yeah, Alderman.
And I'm sure the mayor told us something we could say that would prove what he had sent us.
Well, yeah, Mayor Klemp. That's who sent you out here. To bring his boy in out of harm's way. Out of harm's way, with brigands and bandits about. The sheriff or not the sheriff, the constable.
I got a feeling his boy is a brigand or a bandit, but we'll find out.
Okay. So what will you do? You can see the camp there in the distance.
What time is it at this point?
It's like mid-afternoon. It wouldn't take you long to get back to town. If you traveled directly from where you were, maybe an hour or two at the most.
I'm wondering if we should watch the camp for a while, because.
Oh, okay.
It just seems like if the kid's not there, we don't want to be going through, going in and messing with the stuff. But if he is there, what is he doing out here? That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I figure if he's been out here, he's probably aware that we're stomping around in the vicinity.
I think we continue through the woods and like sneak around closer to the campsite and
Okay, so you wanted
see if
to
we can't figure out if anyone's running around.
So did you want to watch the campsite before you snuck up on it, or sneak up on it and watch it, or I heard a couple of different ideas, so I'm just looking for an affirmation about what the plan is, or are you going to kind of split and do different things, which is fine too. I mean, you know, rule number 1, always split the party.
Always and everywhere.
I think it would behoove us to watch it for a while and then go approach it, and not in a sneaky way, but approach it and then stay near the outskirts in sort of a respectful way. It's to say we're waiting for someone to come back, or if they're in hiding, that we mean you no harm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm listening to see if we can hear Alderman.
Okay. Okay, sure. So each player give me a perception challenge. You can use either of your characters. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't want 6. I just want 3 checks. Oops,
Okay.
Looks like we just lost Peter. Oh, you rolled both characters, Ethan.
No, the first one was when I was checking my perception for the trap.
Thank you. Thanks. I was just reading the chat, not clearly.
Okay.
That confused me at first too until I remembered.
Let's give Peter the link again.
So do you have to get equal? Is it?
Oh,
10
you're
or
looking for
higher?
a 10. Yeah, you're looking for a 10.
Okay, so Gideon makes it.
Okay.
Morgan
All right.
makes it.
So you see, watching the camp for a while, you don't see anybody.
You hear me?
Hey, we hear you.
Yeah, my computer had come unplugged and I hadn't noticed. And
And then your battery died or something.
exactly what happened. So let's just see who has the better perception here. I'm the same. Let's make Opie the perceptive one, so he'll make his roll.
Okay.
Did you say there's no boon or bane, right?
No boon or bane, just straight. Just looking for a 10 or greater.
13.
Yeah. So the time that you took to kind of watch over the camp for a little while from a distance, you can see not anybody coming or going from the camp, but there is somebody in one of those tents that's moving around. One of the 4 tents.
Oh, so there's 4 tents.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, there are 4 tents. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so this might not be Alderman.
Yeah. And maybe one of those tents is like a double, so that's like kind of what's confusing you a little bit. There are at least 3 or 4 tents down there in the clearing.
Gotcha. Then I want to revise what I was saying and not do the whole walk up and be respectful, but let's definitely be kind of sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking we skirt around and then cut a hole in the back of one of the tents and start rummaging around very quietly.
We'll see if we can't get a sort of come around from multiple sides.
Okay.
Kind of surround it, come in.
On the camp from each
of
the, it sounds like each of the players might take a different approach towards the camp itself.
Yeah.
And it sounded like there was, one plan to try to cut open the back of one of the tents and
that's
get
what
in there.
Morgan and Will are gonna do.
Okay. 808. Gideon, are you guys doing anything special as you kind of sneak up on the camp?
I have a feeling that 808 doesn't sneak a lot, so he's probably going to be
wait here.
maybe not He'll be kind of hanging back at the more towards the rear,
Okay.
not going into the camp, more like on a lookout kind of thing. But Gideon
Okay.
will be going in and not doing anything special, just coming in from one corner.
Okay. And then Ichabod and Opie, are you doing anything special?
No, we're coming in from a different way. We're trying to see if anybody makes a run for it, or if anybody else is watching the camp as well.
Okay. Okay.
Offering support to my team.
Okay. Let's see. Which are you? And are you sneaking up on the tent that has somebody moving around inside of it, or which
No.
tent?
No.
A different
Well, I
tent.
think actually I will. Ichabod and Opie we'll go towards that one.
Okay.
Will and Morgan are going to go towards. Is the big one the one that's occupied?
No, one of the.
Okay, we're going to go after one of the big ones.
Oh, you're gonna
The
go to the
big
big one. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. So you come up on this on this third tent, and it stinks like fucking bad.
Like death?
Like death. Like really bad. Do you still want to, or do you want to cut open the back of it?
We're still going to open the back of it. We're bracing ourselves for something bad.
Like
See
dead,
some
like a
bodies
dead
here.
alderman.
Yeah.
We're
so,
expecting to see either a dead alderman or a dead Father Solomon or something.
Okay. So you cutting a slit in the back of the tent canvas. It's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds terribly loud. In the quiet of the woods. And peering in. The sun glinting into the tent. You can see 3 or 4 bodies just kind of laid out, not like kind of in respite,
Repose,
laid out in repose, but they've been dead for a while, for a good while, and freshly dead, like 2 weeks.
You
dead. Yeah.
Is there anything else in the tent?
Flies.
Yeah, flies. And yeah, and you can see a few rats squeaking in the darkness.
All right. We will back out of the tent and make our way to another tent.
Okay.
Is there any movement or anything changed about the guy that's in the tent?
No, not yet. I was just trying to think about how to manage that.
Yeah, we're
okay. Yeah, so you make it over to one of the other tents, and you're going to kind of follow the same approach. There's no movement within this tent. It doesn't stink like the last one.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing. And now that we have seen just about how much force it takes to open up the tent, we're going to be just ever so even more delicate with it and quiet about it.
Okay. So this tent is tall. Like you could stand up inside of it, like kind of like a pavilion tent almost.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of it, though, it's all black canvas on the interior. And you can see candles ring the edges of the interior of the tent, black candles. And a big book lies open in the middle of the floor, and in the dirt are all these diagrams, and runes and markings drawn out.
I'll bet Morgan knows what those are.
They're scary. That's what they are.
I bet.
And the book itself is, it's laid open to a page, and there's more of these markings and scribblings in some sort of weird, like smudged black ink.
It's the tongue of Mordor.
I'm gonna say, first reaction is Morgan getting some bad juju vibes from here. He's gonna take her staff out and just start trying to get rid of some of these markings in the ground.
Oh, you're gonna scrub them out. You're entering the tent, and you're gonna scrub out some of these markings. Okay.
Yep.
All right, you do that.
And Will is gonna move some of the candles away from the circle to try and break the circle.
Okay.
And then once that's done, they'll approach the book.
Okay. Who is watching the tent with the movement?
That would be I should say Horace. Horace died a long time ago. No, Horatio died a long time ago. That would be Ichabod and Opie.
Okay.
And Ichabod, he's the one with the club, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
No, he's got a dagger and a sling, and I guess that's Opie's got a club. Yeah, I guess Opie's got a club. Now, the computer just put in D6 damage for both. It doesn't let me change that.
No, that's just a grade value.
Yeah, you could click in that and type in it. Just use the same syntax. I think that's
what it's telling you.
It's telling you how to fill it out.
Okay.
So out of the tent comes a woman, an old woman. She's kind of stooped, and her gray hair's long and stringy and greasy and sort of disheveled and falling in front of her face. She turns and looks up at you, and she goes and she starts to speak, but she doesn't have a jaw, and her eyes are like black sockets, and she reaches for you. Both Ichabod and Opie need to make a will check. Sorry, a will challenge. Pardon me, a will challenge.
Okay, do I have a boon because I'm wetting myself?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, this is Ichabod. He does it.
Okay.
And Opie almost makes it. Can I burn luck?
No, but there is something in this game called fortune points, which let you convert a failed roll to a success.
Right.
We don't have any of those yet, but we'll
see what happens with Opie.
So Opie gains a point of insanity. So just fill that in on your character sheet.
Oh, did he already have one? No, now he does.
Maybe he had a point of corruption. I don't remember.
I figured Ichabod would have been the one that ran just based on his name.
Ichabod already had a point of insanity. So now they have matching points of insanity.
Matching.
What does this horrible demon thing do before I can plunge a dagger or beat it with a club?
Who has the sword? All right, so now we're in a combat round.
Opie's the one who failed his roll.
Let's see. Yeah, Opie just takes and Opie is stunned, so he can't.
He's just frightened.
He can't take any actions this turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's from gaining insanity.
It happens.
It happens to all of us.
So go ahead and drop your chips on for what actions you'll take.
No, you got to roll it from.
Oh no, I left it on the board here on the map. Click.
Oh, there it is.
And then the
I'm the green 4. I guess.
Above. Your thing is above you.
Yeah, we're going slow. We are in intent. Reality is we're not moving fast.
Opie's not doing nothing. He's stunned.
Yeah, Opie's stunned. He'll lose this turn.
Yeah, but I think Ichabod's going to have to step in front.
As
my die didn't. I just put it on fast action, and my die disappeared.
I did it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. It looks like Gideon and 808 and Ichabod is fast.
All right, Ichabod.
All right. Well, I'm going in to try and stab this thing with a dagger because it's clearly some kind of demon possessed creature.
Okay. Yeah, it's a corpse, and that will beat its that beats its defense for sure. How much damage do you do?
It's a dagger, so I think it's a D3.
Yeah, it says it did 2 damage.
Oh, there it is.
Right,
yeah,
there it is. Right.
Hey,
okay, cool.
And it rolled a D3 too.
Okay, so 3 points of damage. I'm tracking that here.
And Opie's going to choose to stand there going, ah, ah, ah!
All right, Gideon and 8008.
Yes, they're going to move quickly from their place of watchfulness into attacking this.
Okay, so you're just going to charge down from your watching position and attack this creature. Go ahead and make your attacks.
Okay.
The defense is 10.
Okay. I picture it as the witch from Evil Darkness that like jumps on his back and.
Okay, sure. That's very cool.
What are your words of love last night? That was pillow talk, baby.
Here comes Gideon with his.
Looks like
sword.
a miss.
Yep.
He's just not used to using the sword.
Oh no, he's like a +2, isn't he?
Yeah, I rolled a 6. Yeah, that was.
Oh, I see. That gets you up to an 8. Oh, and it doesn't throw damage when you miss.
I don't know.
Right, I think it's you got to get over a 10. Oh no, he just hasn't set the. He's just doing a strength roll versus an attack roll. That's why there's no damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on your character sheet, you can fill the weapon rows there at the bottom, which looks like you have done.
Yeah.
A strength and finesse.
Which is interesting because I was testing it before with the dagger and it worked.
And I just did it for you. Weird.
Oh, okay. No, I was actually rolling.
You click the die button. You click the die button on the weapon row.
Right.
Which
Okay.
is the leftmost die button.
Right. So okay.
Next time.
Yep. So my 808 hit.
Okay, what does he hit with?
He's only got a club, so
I think that's a D3, right?
I think it clubs a D6.
D6, yeah.
Oh, a D6. Okay, great.
Yeah, dagger is a D3.
3 more points. All right. All right, and now the slows.
Okay.
Morgan and Will. There's there's this fight going on with this old woman out in the clearing just outside that third tent.
Morgan's gonna swoop up the book and get her sling out and get ready to try and chuck something.
There's a melee going on. You want to shoot into that? And you're picking up the book. Is that right?
Yes, she's picking up the book.
Okay, make a
death save.
So Morgan was was scared and uncomfortable about
engineering.
What she saw in here.
Oh yeah.
So I'll let you pick it up, but you're going to take a point of corruption because you know that this is dark and black.
Oh, okay. She will think better of it. And she's tempted.
Yeah, so when grabbing up this book, when you go to the book and the things that are scrawled out on the page are like just these horrific incantations.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Remember what the incantation is a spell that something that you can cast from a written source, and the magic itself lets you be able to read it. And you see like grasping hands from the grave, and and bone splinters flying. Those are the two.
Oh well, if that's what she sees, she ain't picking it up. Yeah. If that's what she sees, she ain't picking it up.
Okay. Right. What will she do?
She will go outside and whack this old crone with her staff.
Okay, so that would be the fourth person on, and that would be full up for the melee, but go ahead and make your attack.
Okay. And staff is finesse, so I don't have to use your strength.
You can use agility, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you've got the same thing. You could make an attack from the weapon row itself.
Oh, yep. That's what I meant to do.
That's all right. So that's a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. I think it's a d6 plus 1.
Yep.
Ooh, 7 points, and that's like, yeah. But that drops, or what happens, Morgan?
You just see Morgan come racing out of the tent, screaming bloody murder, just with the stick, and she just starts wailing on this old crone's head of, "Get off of him! Get off of him!"
Yeah, and it's the first blow that just snaps the neck, and the second blow that smashes the shoulder and drops her to the ground, and the third and fourth, which just turns it into this ruined pulp, and then the entire torso just ruptures, and all these black rotting entrails just like spew out from the crushed cavities.
You see Morgan turn and just hurl.
Okay, cool. You can take a, what do we call it? A fortune point.
Ooh.
To figure out when's the right point to dole those out or give them. But those are like the fate points of the game that you turn a success into a failure.
No, a failure into a success.
Well, it probably depends on
it's all perception. That was another Horus moment there.
Right,
running in last second, kill the thing.
Right. Okay. Now a kind of quiet becomes the campsite, and there's the one tent. It's flap kind of thrown over the top, and you can see that's clearly like a sleeping in a living space. What will you guys do?
I want to check in the tent that the demon thing came out of.
Oh, okay.
And Opie's going to go bash it in the head just to make sure it's down, because he's still a little freaked.
Sure. Yeah, he's still a little uncomfortable about the whole thing. So the old woman had come out of what was like the sleeping quarters, the living quarters, the sleeping tent. And you can see that there's a bedroll and some clothing and a few personal effects. There's a skull set up on like a small trunk that has some runic carvings in its forehead. It's a human skull. It's missing the bottom part of its bottom jaw.
Lower mandible.
There's some food, kind of stale bread, bottle of wine, and a couple of books.
Ooh, books.
These are smaller like books, not like the book that Morgan saw, which would be something that you'd have to hold with two hands.
Now books are kind of rare.
These are like
Opie's
diaries?
picking them up.
Okay.
Well, what are the books of?
They're written in a common tongue. Is anyone literate in the party?
Ichabod is, because he was
That's right. He was the devotee.
Yeah.
So
Initiate. He was an initiate.
Yes, that's right. The initiate. Yeah, they're books about the science of magic and occult kind of. It's a little familiar to you. Some of the heretical ideas sort of laid out in a few. Oh, you're like, oh, I've read this. And but one is on the black magic of death, on the subject of necromancy. Though it's not really about magic, it's more like a history.
So we don't get the creepy evil feeling from it. That doesn't change the fact that I want to smash that skull.
Okay. It splinters into a dozen pieces.
Ichabod's very, yeah. That's neither old nor new gods. That's the demons and devils.
That's the blackest of the black.
That's the true enemy. New gods, old gods. It's just like fathers and sons and sons and sons. They just argue and change. It's always the same family. But these are the true enemy.
You see Will come out and go, "Aye, dark times indeed if someone's messing with necromancy. Raising the dead, it's just not natural."
So well, I'm gonna. You said there was 4 tents, and it sounds like we've only been in 3 of them.
Well, one of them was like a very large, like kind of a double tent, where the corpses were laid out.
Right.
And there are 3 tents.
Okay.
Large double tent, which you mistook for 2 earlier.
Got it.
And then the others.
So 8008135, who has probably no sense of smell, will go in and try to identify the bodies to see if the sun is in there, based on any kind of.
Okay. Interesting. No, the sun isn't there. There's not a young man here amongst them. The corpses are naked, and you see that one of them's quite withered and desiccated, I guess might be the right word. Kind of like the corpse that you saw in the workshop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very dirty. But the other, one of them's kind of fresh and bloated, and the third is sort of somewhere in the middle.
So it sounds like she was killing them over time.
No, so I remember at the beginning we heard a rumor that someone was digging up bodies from the cemetery.
Yes.
Oh, right.
I think these are them.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
And I think someone was practicing bringing them back, and something went wrong, and she became possessed.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
Unless she's dressed like she's in grave goods. I mean, your jaw could have fallen off in the grave, but I think.
Yeah, this one is also naked, not clothed.
So
she might be
a success.
A success that was guarding the camp,
or just wandering around because the necromancers left.
Yep.
So we may not have killed the necromancer.
No, fuck.
Nope.
We just killed a zombie.
Yep. Or re-killed a zombie.
This isn't good, and we still haven't found Alderman.
I think we need to bury these bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to bury them? Okay.
Yes.
Or burn them. Either way. We can't just leave them though.
Digging four graves will take you until sundown.
Then why don't we burn them if we have something that we can do with that?
Yeah, but I think we should burn them and put that evil book on the pyre too.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that even move the bodies onto the book so we don't have to touch the book.
Oh, good point.
And just burn them all.
Okay. Okay.
See, Ichabod hasn't lost his faith. He's just lost his faith in other humans, and he thinks everybody's lost sight of what's really going on.
Okay.
And this is proof. Proof I'm right, I'm telling you.
I mean, Will, having all his wilderness skills, should know how to make a fire.
Okay.
And he has a tinderbox. Never mind, he's a tinderbox.
Okay, so it sounds like you're going to build a big bonfire
exactly
and fire the bodies and fire the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then let's quickly leave, because if there's somebody else we don't want to be around when they come back.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely burn a book.
I'm not dealing with a necromancer if I could avoid it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're going to kind of basically burn the camp down, and then where are you just heading back to town? Is that the plan?
We need to give the mayor a report.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Report the necromancy has been happening in his backyard.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, you do just that. You know, you build a big bonfire of fallen dead wood, and do you want to use the oil from the lantern to really get it going, or you're just going to let it smolder and take its time to come to its full fruition?
I say we really get going.
Okay.
I think we get it going.
All right, just go ahead and cross off the lantern then as you smash it into the wood to
Excellent. Good thing I never wrote it down.
Right. That's one way to do it. I don't know what I have anymore.
And as the bonfire is going, you see Will do a silent prayer to the old gods.
Okay, cool. All right.
Scoffs at him.
Yeah, Ichabod calls up the all gods because they're all gods. So quit trying to differentiate. That's what he learned from his time with a heretical sect of nut jobs.
So the blaze goes up. I mean, and it's cooking really good. I mean, the wood out here is dry. It hasn't rained yet at the beginning of fall, and it's just this huge conflagration. But you can see the book is not burning in the flames. The pages are burning up, but the
leather,
the backings of it itself, the bindings of the book aren't burning. And as you're making your way back towards town, you start to see these shadows coming down out of the trees, towards the camp, like figures moving in the waning sunlight. Do you want to do anything special, or are you just going to make your best way back to town?
Like something had been watching us the whole time.
Something else is out there.
Yes, I would like to run faster.
You would like to run faster. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we're not sticking around.
No, we're making our way back to town.
Okay.
It's imperative we make our report.
What will you tell the mayor?
What we discovered.
There was necromancy brewing in your backyard, Mayor.
We've not discovered Alderman yet, but we're still looking.
Oh, he's wailing in tears.
But the good news is he was not among the dead we found.
Down on his knees, kind of putting his forehead in the dirt.
We'll go out again tomorrow, Mr. Mayor. Don't worry, we'll find Alderman.
We know that whoever was digging up these graves was using them for necromancy.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be Alderman, would it? I got a bad
Yeah,
feeling.
and
I got a bad feeling it is Alderman. I really do.
As the story sort of now kind of starts racing around town, and you can see this great black plume of smoke coming up from that area of the campsite, from the big bonfire that you had lit, and people are like grabbing their belongings, and they're just running out of town. Even Blanche is like, this town is dead. And if you're smart, you'll make for the crossings. It's the only bastion of civilization for 100 miles. And the mayor rides off on his horse out of town, and was
Is he leaving, or is he going back to his home?
He's getting the fuck out of there, probably.
You don't know. He doesn't go in the same direction that Blanche and some of the other people that are kind of fleeing the town, sort of pushing what meager belongings they have in kind of carts, and driving a few livestock with them.
Is he going back in the direction of his home?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
I got a bad feeling about this.
And we sort of, and the camera pans up, into the kind of desolate ghost town that Last Hope has become, with the six of you standing here by the population sign.
Watching it get smaller.
Kind of falls over. All right, that was the end of session 1. Great job, guys. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around the system, but
there's some mechanic stuff that I need to dig into. Some of the details about like how the fortune points work or whatnot, but the mechanics are simple. It's just a challenge roll or an attack. And one thing I wanted to point out about the attacks is they don't necessarily have to be physical attacks. You could be attacking somebody with your personality or your will or your intellect or something like that, in which case you're just rolling that stat and then trying to beat an opposing stat. So as your stats start to go up, you start to have more defense against those other types of non-physical attacks, if that makes sense.
Sure, it could be jockeying for position or trying to intimidate someone.
Right. So or
even bartering.
The next session is going to open in a city called Crossings, and
that was my theory.
And the party will level to level 1, and you can level both of your characters. Though I think what I'd like to do is, instead of running multiple characters, you'll just run one character, and it can be a choice for which character you want to bring to the adventure. But at the end of the session, both will level, right? So you'll continue to have this progression. And I think what we'll do is we'll do 4 characters total as a minimum party size. So that might mean that one of you is running 2 characters, but we can work that out at the opening of the session, kind of like what we did with the last campaign.
All right. So gaining level 1, what does that mean?
Right. So I was just going to look that up now. So if any of you have your rule books, I'm going to go to page 53.
Yep.
And you go to something called, you're going to start on the novice path.
Yes.
And there are basically 3 paths. There's novice, expert, and then master. And novice is like the first 3 or 4 levels. Then expert is the next 3 or 4 levels, and then master is like the final levels. And on page 53,
basically it starts out with like a vague generalization of what you want to do and slowly specializes more and more.
Right. So
Let me go to page 53. 53. Playing the game. What?
Actually, that's the go one more roll, one more page.
Novice paths. Oh, look, they killed a Yeti.
So, if on page 54 are the 4 basic novice paths. There are magicians, priests, rogues, and warriors. And then there is sort of a group identity, which is something that you can use to kind of help tie you together. I think we've already kind of established a group identity bound by visions.
Mm-hmm.
So each of your characters, you choose one of these novice paths, and then each of the novice paths has a little bit of a detail. So you get like a benefit at level 1, level 2.
Right. Yeah, I see. And the other thing, if I remember correctly, whatever path you pick to begin with, you don't have to stick with, right?
Correct.
That's more like in the when you get into the expert paths.
Right.
Then you start choosing subpaths within that, and then you kind of start branching out from there.
All right.
Right.
I don't want to run a priest.
I don't blame you.
I'd like to run a magic user, a magician, and a warrior. I think is what I'd like to try to run. I don't know if Opie's good enough to be a magician or not.
Anybody basically has the same starting stuff. You know, you're kind of all start at 10s with an ability to kind of
Oh, that's right. You just
bump one or two of them, or bump one of them in exchange for a profession, and bump a second one in exchange at a penalty for another stat. That's the way the starting human characters work.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with you, Peter. You said you maybe wanted to do a warrior and a wizard.
Yeah. Well,
who would be your warrior?
Well, Ichabod's got a strength of 11.
Okay.
Agility of 9, intellect 10, willpower 11.
Okay. So let's just use Ichabod as an example. So we'd go up to the warrior side, and then as a level 1 warrior, you get to increase 2 of your attributes by 1. You get to take 2 separate attributes and bump them by 1.
Oh. So I could make my strength a 12 and bring my agility up to a 10.
Correct. And then you get plus 5 health. So your health should go to 15. And then you can add 1 profession. So from the level 0, this is like extra skills that you can get. You can roll or you can choose. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, let me pull the document up.
Sure. And then
so this is warrior, right? This is the last one. There he is.
Mm-hmm. And then the last benefit you get as level 1 is that when attacking with a weapon, you get to make an attack roll with 1 boon. So you always get 1 boon as a warrior when you're attacking.
How
so
handy.
in your weapon row on your character sheet, you just change that boon field to 1 for all of your attacks. And those are notes that you can add to your character sheet, blah, blah, blah. And how did Ichabod's martial prowess really show through, or lead him onto this path? And it doesn't necessarily have to be what happened here in Last Hope. It could be on your journey to the crossings, or it could even be when you arrived in the crossings, as these traits started to take shape, because the next session won't necessarily be
immediately after
an immediate following, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I could run Opie as a rogue or as a magician, but I'd really like to run him as a magician. But I don't know if we have a lot of people wanting to run magic users, then we don't need a lot.
Well,
of
the
them.
interesting thing is when you get to
Well,
the
that's right, we
later,
all get them.
when you get to the later careers,
Mm-hmm.
you can choose. You know, you might start as rogue now, but then you could add like some magical traits to your character later.
Right. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about Peter doing like a magician with with a little bit of healing tacked in later on. And then for Morgan as like a druidess, and then Will's going to be like a roguish ranged warrior thing later down.
Okay.
To give you an idea of what I'm thinking.
So Morgan's almost like she's a cleric.
She's like a cleric, but she's going to have a little bit extra more on the druidy side too.
What are you thinking about, Nils?
Well, I was thinking about a priest for Gideon because he's got that fanatic. I mean, one of his classes was a fanatic. Professions was a fanatic. Because of the 8008135s, overcompensates for his intellect by being a bully with his strength and power.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about a warrior, but he was still made to be a magician. I mean, his what was it?
He was made for magic, right?
Yeah, built to do magic. So
an arcane purpose.
You could do a cross hybrid of the two.
Yeah, you could be a wizard who can protect himself,
who can augment himself with or you could be a warrior who augments himself with magical enchantments.
So it just kind of depends on which way you want to go at the beginning. You know, do you want to start on the warrior path first, or do you want to start on the wizard path first?
Good point. I think I'm going to start him on the warrior path.
Okay. Cool.
So if that's the case, maybe I'll make Morgan be more on like the damaging type of wizard, since it sounds like we're going to have a priest.
With Gideon.
With Gideon.
Okay. So you're gonna take magician rather than priest.
Well, I was gonna take magician anyway, but I would just change what extra tradition I wanted to take.
Oh, right, because we haven't looked at magician. So looking at magicians, Peter, as an example. So you get the same thing where you get to increase 2 by 1 of your attributes. You gain a little bit of health and a little bit of power. You gain, you get to be literate in all the languages you can speak, and 1 academic area of your choice. Then you discover 1 tradition, so that's one of those magical traditions. And then make 3 choices for spells. Is that right? For each choice, you either discover another tradition,
you can either
spell. Okay.
Right. So you get to choose any combination of traditions and spells.
And then cantrips. Whenever you discover a tradition, you learn an extra rank 0 spell from that tradition.
There are 2 rank 0 spells per tradition. So basically, when you pick a tradition, you get both of the level 0 spells.
Whenever you discover a tradition, you learn an extra rank 0. Oh, so when you learn a tradition as a magician, when you learn a tradition, you always get choose one of the rank 0s.
Right, and then being a magician gives you the other one as well.
Gotcha.
Well, as much as I initially said, I really want to play a wizard or a magic user this time. 1, it's not DCC, so it's very different magic. But 2, everything in Opie so far just says he's a rogue.
Yeah, he screams rogue to me too.
He does.
He's just absolutely a rogue. Guide, fence, rebel. So
right.
Yeah.
So novice is where I write rogue, right?
Correct. And then as a rogue, you get to increase 2 of your attributes by 1. So same kind of thing. Your health goes up by 3. And you can add a language or add a profession. You get something called nimble recovery and something called trickery.
Oh, that's right. Where do we write these things?
Those would be like in the notes section of the character.
The equipment talents.
I would put it in the notes, mods, quirks, etc. That's where I would track all that stuff.
I think the healing though sounds like that's a talent, or is that something separate?
Talent. Let's see. Nimble recovery. You can use an action to heal damage equal to your healing rate, and then move half your rate without triggering free attacks. Once you use this talent, you can't use it until you rested for the day. So it's like a free healing action. And then trickery, once around, you can make an attack roll or a challenge roll with a boon. If you attack with a boon from this talent, your attack deals an additional 1d6 damage. So it's sort of like a sucker punch or a backstab kind of skill.
Yeah, I think that would go under talents. So
Yeah,
trickery, right?
Wherever you want to write it in your character sheet is fine.
Well, trickery. Well, the talents when you click one.
Oh, I see. They have a field name, and then you can do attacks.
Yeah, it says uses, like
and a description and all kinds of stuff. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely.
I keep looking around for my rule book.
I know. I need to get one. I'm just using a digital copy, which I think is the sort of the come on for this. The bundle of holding. Here's a bunch of ebooks. Man, I know I need to have that book.
Well, I am thinking. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Game Castle has a bunch of these books on sale. I don't think they have the core book, but I noticed looking through their discount bin, they've got 4 or 5 of them, the supplements on sale, if that's something.
Oh, cool. Were you looking at their online discount bin, or where were you? Okay.
Well, yeah, it was online discount, but a lot of times they'll say it's in this store or that store.
Gotcha.
Or online only.
Good to know. All right, so that's kind of how the leveling works. I don't see any details for level 3 or 4.
No, because as soon as you hit level 3, you go into your expert path.
It says level 5 expert rogue.
Oh, but it means that once you get to be level 5, you get a trigger
bonuses
from your novice path.
Right. So the level 3 is you get your first expert path rank up, and then level 4 is your ancestry kicks in.
Oh, which is
being human, you get a bonus.
Your human stuff or your clockwork stuff in our cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I'm glad somebody read these rules.
Oh, there's a lot of other talents. Wow. Backstab.
Yeah,
magic.
so these once you get to be level 2, then you choose a roguery talent from one of those described, right? So this is where the kind of like what you might call like the Warhammer career path starts taking shape, when you get these options about, am I going to be a magical rogue, or am I going to be a sneaky rogue, or that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then as you're leveling, your character starts taking shape with these attributes and these traits or these paths.
So as your stats, they're your derived stats,
when you modify on the character sheet, if you modify your primary stat, your derived stuff should be changing too.
Okay, it's automatic. I was asking if I need to manually change it.
No. So like, for example, if I change my health, it will change my healing rate.
Well, I changed my intellect and my perception stayed the same.
It might be a 1 for 2.
Okay.
You can just look at the character creation and it'll tell you or look at the attribute itself and it should tell you what causes it to go up or down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Nils. I just fiddled with the intellect on my character, and it didn't do anything with my perception.
Right.
All right, so we're looking at a priest, a warrior.
That's for Will and for Morgan, and then
that's for Gideon and
Boobies.
Boobies, yes. Mm-hmm. And then we're looking at a warrior and a rogue for Ichabod and Opie.
Oh, I like where you get to track the damage on the character sheet. That's super cool.
Yeah.
In the middle of the spider web.
So yeah, Morgan will go down the magician path, and Will go down, I think, the warrior path first.
Okay.
As a ranged warrior is what we'll do.
Cool.
So is there some place? Oh, I see. I see where we pick the path names or specify the path names.
All right. How about hits or misses for tonight?
It's good to get in some combat to see how that. I mean, we didn't really do that last time, but it's it also helps to have listened to the the interview to try to have another source of understanding it.
Yeah, suss out what some of the design principles were. Cool. Well, I had a blast. There's a lot of great role playing and some really cool action moments with 808. Bum rushing the desk and just trampling the.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Super cool. And so everybody can go ahead and take a fortune point too.
Ooh, how exciting!
Okay.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Where the hell does that go?
Down at the very bottom.
The bottom, there's a little tally for fortune points.
Ah, fortune favors the bold. All right. And now Ichabod. And he already had one for some reason.
Yeah, I was noticing that on Will. I don't know why he had one.
I think we did something last week.
Maybe. Okay, so Nils, on the perception thing, your base perception score is equal to your intellect score.
Right. So we should manually be changing the perception when we change the intellect.
Yep.
Yeah, for some reason it should change by the character sheet, but it looks like it's broken.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You can use an action to heal damage equal to your healing rate, then move up to half speed without triggering free attacks.
That sounds like
so
fun.
You can get away from combat.
Yeah.
Is that your roguery?
Yeah, that's nimble recovery. Wonder if I can cut and paste from this.
Oh, that would be great.
I think you can.
We're about to find out. I'm just sticking this in the background section.
Yeah, wherever works for your character. It's your character sheet. So you do
That worked.
Cool.
Cut and paste.
Cool. I'll take it.
All right, so I think my rogue is ready to go, though. I'm gonna have to give him some equipment.
Yeah, I don't think you get any money or anything like that, so just have to.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You're just sort of scrabbling, getting by, right?
That's it. That's it. Well, this is sort of like the Mike's world, and it's the world. The world's all messed up, and we're just trying to survive and get to the next place we might be safe.
Right. Exactly.
At least that's how it seems. All right. Ichabod gets a few things. Let's see, what was that? We did his hit points.
Which two attributes did you decide to buff for him, Ichabod?
I brought back his I had taken his agility down, so I brought it back up to a 10, and then I made his strength at 12.
Cool. And then do you want to take what profession will you take? You could choose or you could roll. Common, martial, wilderness, or common, martial, or wilderness?
Wilderness seems to make the most sense with what we're dealing with.
because we had been out in the wilderness. Now, do you want to choose one, or do you just want to roll one?
Oh heck, let's let fate mess me over.
Yeah, let's let fate be the master of your
the
fortune.
arbiter.
The arbiter of your fortune.
That's right.
That's a D20. One.
Is the loneliest number you'll ever do.
Bandit, brigand, or highway robber.
I don't want to be a bad person.
Well, maybe it's all that hanging out with Opie. Or you can choose. There are other options here.
What
on page 24 of the rule book, page 24.
24.
Printed page 24. Electronic 25.
Yeah, we already got one criminal.
Refugee, that would be cool. Well, this is all in the wilderness space, so you could do common, martial, or wilderness. I think those are your choices.
Yeah. Spelunker, that fits what we're doing. No. Exile wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Nomad or vagabond.
So remember that professions are kind of like your skill set. So, you would say, oh, well, I want to use my exile skills to know about my homeland or something like that, right? Or
Boy, it's a tough one.
Or I'm running from the city guard and I'm gonna hide using my exile skills, or I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather go with nomad or vagabond.
Cool. I like those.
That's kind of like think on your feet kind of thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
So then that goes in professions.
Mm-hmm. And you probably already have a few of those in your character sheet.
Yeah, I've got prospector, devotee, initiate of old faith, and now I have nomad.
Vagabond. Which one do you want, nomad or vagabond?
Oh, they're different?
Yeah.
Let's go with nomad.
All right, cool.
Man who's always on the move.
A wandering people.
Mm-hmm. Looking for a much better weapon and hopefully some armor. And my novice profession was warrior.
Correct.
I think let's check the rule book. Yeah, I might have to go see if I can't find a printed copy of this.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Like I'd rather leaf through it than flip through it.
I printed out a copy of the PDF. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
At school?
Yep.
Oh, 59 was the warrior. Like, where was I? What is it? I've never seen one before. No one has.
Okay, you're only allowed to use the same quote once a night.
Somebody punch him? Hey, my warrior gets to heal himself too. Catch your breath. You can use an action or triggered action on your turn to heal damage equal to your healing rate. Once you use this talent, you cannot use it again until after you complete a rest. Oh, so it's not just once a day. It's
a rest
with some downtime.
Rest is like 8 hours rest kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So technically, it would be once a day, really.
Yeah.
Interesting. But the rogue gets to do the same thing, but then he gets to make a move afterwards.
Right. Were you reading a warrior trait or something like that?
Yeah, this is a warrior trait I was just now reading that I'm cutting and pasting into my warrior. Warrior needs food
catch your
badly.
breath. Yeah. Yeah, but the warrior gets his whole healing rate. I think the the rogue only gets half their healing rate.
I think you're right, and they get to move.
And the rogue gets to move, so that's a plus right there.
You can use an action to heal damage equal to your healing rate, and then move up to half your speed.
Oh,
without,
half your speed. Okay,
without triggering free attacks.
So it's kind of like the warrior, but better.
Well, yeah, you can get out of combat.
Yeah.
So if someone's kicking your ass, you could heal and get out without them getting free hacks.
Right.
The one I'm not quite sure about, trickery. Once per round, you can make an attack roll or challenge roll with 1 boon. If you attack with 1 boon from this talent, you attack deals an extra d6 damage. So sounds to me like I get a free boon, basically, whatever I'm doing each round.
When you're attacking, yes, that's true. Yeah.
So that's like the luck mechanic in a way.
A little bit, like, yeah, it's like you being lucky, or you fast talking, or you, yeah, or you looking for that vulnerability and then taking advantage of it, whether it's like a social vulnerability or something else, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to see how they differentiate the characters. All right, so I got a hammy, but at least I don't have another Gerda. I love Gerda, but I want to play something different. But yeah, I just want to see how different the rogue is.
Yeah.
This is more like what Ethan was running there at the end.
What?
Sandala, right? Was
Sandala?
Sandala, yeah, she was the rogue.
Yep, she was the tricksy rogue.
So how about for Opie? Do you want to take a language, or do you want to take another profession? Have you thought about it?
Ooh, let's take another profession.
Common, criminal, or wilderness? It's back on page 24.
I had to finish writing in Ichabod there.
Oh, sure.
Okay, back to page 24. Let's pick this one so I don't end up getting upset and making, no, he can't all be highwaymen.
I hate this game.
Oh, my guys suck.
That's one thing I like about the design principle too, is it's a lot of choice, right? But there's plenty of, if you not sure what choice to take, just go with the die roll, right? But on all of these tables, it's like, if you want, just choose. It doesn't matter. Make the character that you want to play.
Sure. Did you say wilderness was one of my choices?
Wilderness, criminal, or common?
Actually, common's got some decent stuff there, doesn't it? But no, we're going to go with wilderness and go with outlaw.
Oh, yeah. The outlaw Opie Wales.
Boop, 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 boop. So that goes under profession, because now he went from guide, fence, rebel, outlaw. I don't know what that means, but I can.
That just means that you have outlaw skills, right? So
yeah, and I have things I can call on. Well, I'm going to use my my outlaw background should help me with this. Yeah,
and I'd say, oh yeah, that would, and here's a boon for it, or oh yeah, sure, you can do that, or that kind of stuff, right?
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing how magic works, even if I'm not the one running it.
Yeah, I don't even know how it works.
I'm doing. I've got Morgan starting with.
What traditions did you take for Morgan?
So I'm taking Primal and Celestial.
Cool.
Which basically Primal is like I'm summoning animals, bringing out the natural animal instinct in myself, and Celestial is like hitting people with sunbeams and starfall sorts of things.
Cool. And what are the cantrips that you get off of those traditions?
I get Burning Beam and Light from Celestial, and I get Beast Within and Hide from Animals for Primal.
Cool.
And then I get to pick a level 1 spell from each, which I'll do.
Oh, okay. And then how many level 1 spells are in each tradition? 2?
There's like 3, I think. But I only get to pick 1 spell from each at this point for my level.
I'm looking for... Where are the... here are the traditions.
Yeah.
If you want to look at these, they're pretty interesting, Peter, the way they set it up. The magic system is pretty straightforward.
Well, I assumed it would be, since their whole idea was to get the system out of the way of telling the story.
Right, right. And that starts on page 111 of the printed rule book. And there are 1, 2, 3.
It's like 20 plus
there are
traditions.
There are 30 different traditions. And then, you know, there are things like arcane or chaos, destruction, life, shadow, time. And then the spells themselves are just like little short entries, like a paragraph, kind of like a...
Yeah, my thought process is I'm going to start her off with Primal and Celestial. And then I was previewing what the expert paths are. And I'm thinking if I go down the Druid path, that'll give me the Nature tradition, and I'll just stick with those as my traditions.
Interesting.
That's what I'm thinking.
Thinking it's all about when I go out drinking, making my mind blow. That's why I don't fuck with a big 4-0.
And
sorry.
What are you doing, Nils, with your priest?
I'm trying to figure that out right now. So one of the things you get is a new religious profession, many of which allow you to read. Are you still given that when you get that profession as a new novice, or is that only at the beginning of your character creation?
No, as a new novice.
Okay.
So you start as a level 0, and you might be able to read as a level 0, right? And you become literate by giving up one of your language slots for something that you want to be literate in. Yeah, so you get to become literate in one of the languages that you can speak. And then you also get to add a religious profession.
Right, which then gives you another language, possibly, depending on which one you pick.
Oh, right. Which one you pick from page 24.
Okay, so he's definitely new gods. So where are the list of the magic things?
Oh, the traditions?
You pick one tradition, so you then make 2 choices. For each choice, either choose a tradition associated with your religion or a new. And what is the choosing a tradition just opens that up to a new, getting spells from that again?
I'm looking, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Encyclopedia, Ethan?
What's up? What do you want to do?
When you pick a new tradition,
yes,
that just opens that up, school up as ways to get new spells from that tradition?
Correct. Though when you pick a new tradition, you also automatically get to pick 1 level 0 spell to go along with it.
Oh, here, yeah, okay, here it is. Religion, Cult of the New God.
Where are you seeing that?
I'm just looking at your religious traditions.
Okay.
On page 57. So you decided to go with Cult of the New God.
Well, I'd already rolled being a New God adherent fanatic, so.
Right. So this just fits in with your backstory, right?
So I see. Let's see here.
I wonder if there are religious traditions like separate spells.
So what is the priest training table for? I'm not seeing that that's being referenced unless it's somewhere at a higher level.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I just started looking at the priest, so I don't know how that works.
So if I get the $40 core rulebook, that's all I'm going to need, really.
Yeah.
I'm adding it to my cart in Amazon.
I'm buying it right now. This is dumb.
No, I like the game, and
I mean, it's dumb to flip around in the e-copy when you want to flip around in a book. It doesn't work the same way.
Well, plus it gets in the way of me working the role playing on the screen.
Oh, there you go. Right. Oh, I thought you might have had it up on your tablet.
No, I really should, but I hate reading on the iPad.
It's harder.
Yeah, I like books. I'm old. I'm like Captain Picard. I like books. So yeah, my miss is that I still don't feel comfortable with the rules yet, but I'm enjoying the style of it. And I agree with Nils, having listened to the interview and their review, really helped. I think really helped me to grok more of this.
Solidify around it, like, oh, this makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I can totally see why Aaron's into this, and yeah, I'm into this too. So perfect.
All right, I've selected all my spells and traditions.
What do you know about the religious traditions, Ethan?
I've spent like no time with it.
I know nothing.
Let me take a look.
Well, I'm noticing on page 205 there's something about, and this is in the okay. Option training. You can require characters.
Right here. Oh, there we go. I found it. Religious traditions. Yeah, it's on the table right next to in the priest block.
Yeah, but what is that? What does that give you?
Basically, those are the traditions that you're allowed to choose from for your spells, or for like what traditions you want to learn. Those are the ones you're allowed to pick.
But I don't see like nougat, like.
Yeah, no, because you figure out what your religion is, which is cult of the new god, and the traditions you're allowed to choose from are celestial, life, and theurgy.
Oh, I didn't see that in the table. That's the second column in the table that I didn't bother to read.
Right, but I'm wondering the table above that where it says priest training.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just how you.
That's just background. That's background.
Yeah, okay. That's not actually referenced anywhere.
Yeah, you can roll that if you want, or you can just make it up yourself or whatever.
Yep, that's all background fluff.
You know, if you were starting with the beginning character, I mean, if you're starting at level 1 instead of level 0, like we did.
Right.
And I really did the level 0 just to try to learn the system, you know, to.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Ethan. I don't know why. I guess I must be tired. I wasn't looking at it.
It's okay. Oh, okay. That's how I moderate how many times I get to cast spells. Cool.
Is this game like D&D where you can cast? No, this isn't like D&D where you cast your spell once.
I think it's like spell slots, but are cantrips?
No, so basically,
are they zeros?
So how it works is based on your power level. You look. There's a table that tells you how many times you can cast each spell that you have. At level 1, you have power level 1, which means each of your cantrips you can cast twice, and then each of your level 1 spells you can cast once per day. So you have a lot more flexibility with how much you can cast, but you're still limited to how many times you can cast each spell.
Yeah. Right. So your power level dictates the number of times you can cast
each of your spells. Yeah.
Is it each spell or is it just total spells?
Each individual spell. Yep.
Yeah, and you can change out spells if you decide you don't like one or
right.
Stuff.
When you level up, you can switch out a spell, which can be useful.
Did anybody go with the dark magic traditions?
No.
No. We're heroes, Aaron. Only Nils would be tempted.
You have to fight fire with fire.
No, you fight fire with fire.
I mean, if either of my characters died, I would in this level 0. I'd be tempted to make a really just kill everything sorcerer, but like that's not what happened. So we're not going to go down that route.
Well, Nils has me really tempted to run a chaos sorcerer in the next DCC campaign I get involved in.
I was tempted to run a chaos sorcerer in this game. I was tempted, but
I want to stop the Shadow Lord, not help.
Right,
the
it's
Shadow
like
Lord.
the issue is I can do that, but I'm just going to be foreshadowing our own doom. So.
Well, guys, I think I've run I've run the duration I can run, so I will catch up with you all next week. I hope everybody has a great, happy, and safe Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun session tonight. Thanks for putting up with my system interest, system curiosity.
your system roaming.
Yes, system roaming.
All right, guys. We'll talk soon. Happy
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
See you guys.
Bye.